batakali no de wakusia. Obe ajo, batakali. Obe ajo, batakali no de wakusia. Obe ajo, batakali no de wakusia. Obe ajo, batakali no de wakusia. Obe ajo, batakali no de wakusia.
Good afternoon to all of you, our fans on Facebook, Clubhouse, and YouTube. Thank you very much for joining the session today. Good afternoon to you, good morning, and good evening, wherever you may find yourself at this very moment. Thank you very much, Bokor. Why is this thing the color is now blue instead of black? What are you doing? This thing is like a blue color. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to pour a libation and then we can start. Those of you who are here can start preparing your questions and sending your greetings and we will take it from there. Oh, Ago Manga, so where is Ago? Manga, keep it at Manga, I say your talk, I'm in your talk. Say, no, say, no, I'm going to give you kind, but you kind, and what kind, what kind, what kind, what kind, what kind, what kind, I mean, what kind, and the other kind. Very good. I never had the door up with the milk, but something that I don't know about or Kapo, Zango, and to the other job. For come over, and I change what we do in the Coco quarter from the hair of the winter and quite a good. Whatever, but over you, two of playing, one of the car. So that I really happy to offer the new job. You know, what you know about black and white. Jopata and people may answer about over the time after it is good you and what people like that. Parents of the car or at the Sapata mail, I think it may have probably a last year. They may have a gas again. This is a way. They are not machine that will go for the come out of the future. I thought I was supposed to be a because of the different community. That's now was you to see that because I black over your name that you took the phenomenon na adoption and video and if when you understand your country you are going to see the phone on there you put on the fan and do the fan we all know, we are at home, we are very abundant. We are that to the family, we all, we are not to the but we are abandoned when we are channel. To the family. We are coming to a person in Kalu, then you see our team. To the family, we will I will let the go. You may not go when I'm Kanda. You when you need one, Melania. You may have put his and I can't travel. They do go to the copy of the problem. The tunnel waiting for the one from what's in crowd of three. Chapter of two. You may all the trouble of mouth to the American black American dying. But if you go near then it has affected Facebook like that's just is how are you going to coordinate the Zoom and the live?
The Zoom will switch over. It will when it's time for Zoom, then it will switch to the Zoom.
I didn't get on. When we finish answering the questions, when Facebook is over, so that will be after the program. It will be within the program. If somebody wants to connect on Zoom. Okay, so let's go on. Let me see the greetings on Facebook first. Here we have Bentoto Lango who says, what's contact education? I don't understand that question, Mr. Bentoto. And then we have Lord Royal Montana Money saying fire, fire, fire. And then we have Omiwa Ajay saying dancing, and thank you very much for joining. And then we have Ikiozua D. Boma. I've been waiting to be accepted at the Zoom meeting now. Please add me. Are you hearing?
Yes, please.
You have added her.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Then the Ikiozua again is saying the instrumental is in a very high vibrational frequency for me here in Nigeria. What is the instrumental is in a very high vibrational frequency for me here in Nigeria. Is it a Zoom?
Video call.
Okay, thank you. And then I say, may our ancestors be praised and may their guidance always be our book. Thank you very much. We have Alasan Haruna in Canada saying, greetings, lovely family. Thank you very much, Alasan. How are you? Thank you very much for joining the section and all of you who have joined the session. We have Ben Dada. Please give the Zoom ID and the password, okay? So you are listening, they say you should give out the Zoom ID and the password, please. And then we have Vivian Bakar saying, greetings, Papa. Hello, Vivian. How are you? Thank you very much. I have not forgotten you. Thank you. We will hear from you very soon. And then, okay, Revolution Vodou Education is giving the pin it to the Zoom ID to the screen. So those of you who would want to talk directly on Zoom, please connect and let us talk. Thank you very much. So we're going on to Togbe Chibeza on Africa on YouTube says greetings and good day, Papa Bokor Anuledo. Yeah, Bokor Anuledo to you too. Anuledo now, I'm glad to see you're expanding your technology. I hope things are going well for you and everyone. Yeah, we are doing our best. We are trying to see if we can make it possible. It's the first time we are trying the Zoom to see how it works with us. Thank you everybody for joining. So and the people on the clubhouse now, my greetings to you all. Thank you all for joining, and please bring in your questions because here we are now. We don't have too many people on Facebook. We don't have too many people on YouTube. So those of you who are here, you can send in your questions, and I can start answering.
Greetings, Papa.
Greetings, and how are you?
I'm good, Papa. How are you?
I'm also fine, Shamba. How is everybody?
Everybody's good. Papa, last night I had a dream about you, and I was in the dream. I was sitting with you, but I was like asking you. I was like, Papa, please, I want you to teach me how to see more. I want to see more. And he's like, I want to see deeper. I kept saying in my dream, and he's just like, okay, no problem.
I see. I think your seeing will come. You know, the seeing, it does not just happen just all of a sudden like a magic. Because if it happens like that, you will not be able to control it. So once you have been given the technique of how to see, and you start seeing something slowly, you are going to develop it. And the more you practice it, the more you become perfect in it. So you will, and if you when you get the chance to come back, because of this, what do you call it, our vaccination policy. Once you come back, I will again introduce some other herbs to you that will see how it works. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Papa.
You're welcome. Lamin, is Senna, have you spoken with Senna?
I spoke to him around 1
And he said what?
He said he'll be here.
Okay. So let's go back to Facebook and see if we have anyone else there. So we don't have anyone here. Okay, we have Omi Waniwa. Saying, let me see that Omi Waniwa. Good afternoon, Papa. Hello, good afternoon, Omi Waniwa. Thank you very much for joining this thing. So let's see if we have people on Zoom, then we can connect with them, those who wanted to talk on Zoom. I think we have Boma D. Ekio. Is he gone?
He's still online.
So how connect him, or he has to open his?
He has to open his mic.
Okay. Is your color balancing today is not very good for my eyes, because the whole thing is like very blur. I mean, especially on this side, it's very blur and like a double, like a shadow, and this. I don't. This is fine. The video part here is very fine, but now it's much better. So, but why do you choose to set it? Is it not the people using the television to play games? Okay, so let me use this moment to just teach something here. Okay, one thing I want all of us to know and to understand is that in spiritual work, when, for instance, you ask me to do something for you, when I do or when I did the work for you, you have to give me feedback on how the work is going. Because I personally am not a spirit. I'm just a human being who is listening to the direction of spirits and using it to work with human beings. There are times that you may do a ritual and the ritual will take off and things will start happening. And then somewhere along the way, it cuts off or things stop moving. When such things happen, the best thing you should do is to find out why the work has started and again stopped. And when the spiritualist, in this case me, if I tell you that or I told you that this, what I have seen, there is some challenges again, either it is witches or it is human beings or it's your own making or its ancestors. So let us do rituals so that we can clear the path from them so they can be free. Your path can be free so that you can move on. But you feel that no, you have taken care of them, that they are not taking care of you, so you don't want to attend to them. I cannot force you. When we do a reading, we cannot force people to do the ritual. We will suggest the ritual that the spirit world has told us to tell you. It is up to you to decide to do it. If you don't want to do it, I will not force you to do it, because it will be as if I am the one trying to force you to do what you don't want to do. So generally, at African Magic Temple, we won't force you after a reading to do the ritual. But we will tell you that when you do a reading, and then there is a ritual that is supposed to be done, you should do it, because if you don't do the ritual, things become more difficult than before you did the reading. So I will advise people who want to do readings that when you are about to ask a spiritualist, whether us or anybody else, to do a reading for you, you should be ready that when they did the reading, whatever comes out of it that you should do to clear your path should be done. Because if not, things become more challenging and difficult for you, and it will seem as if the person who did your work for you or did the reading for you did not try for you. No, it is not like that. Myself, even though I am a priest, between last December to this very April, I don't know how many times I have done ancestral feeding. And I cannot count all the witches feeding that I did. I think I did before the 31st, and after the 31st I did again. And then in one of them, my sister said she did. My sister appeared in my reading saying that she did not eat, so they have to do again. So I did again. And when I was feeding my afa, I did witches feeding again. But why do I keep doing it when things are not moving? Because during the reading, they say these are the things, these are the energies that are blocking my ways. So since I am interested in finding solution to whatever is blocking my way to get off my path, I have to do what I can do. But that is me. But I cannot force anybody else. So when you are coming to do a reading with us, everybody should bear it in mind that Don't just say, I want to know what is this, I want to know what is that, or what is happening to me. Try to know that when you do a reading, whatever comes in the reading, you should try to do it. Because Christopher Voncujovi, I am not a spirit. I am as human being like all of you. So the only difference between myself and yourself is that I have learned how to deal with spirits and be able to hear and communicate with them and translate that communication or break that code to you so that you can hear or understand what the spirit world is saying. I'm not more than that. So when I hear something and I tell you this is what you should do, but you feel or you felt that no, this one I cannot do it because it's not working or whatever. I cannot force you. I cannot force you to do what you don't want to do. That's why I always try to advise people that before you do a reading, you should be prepared that there will be a ritual that follows the reading. Without the ritual, nothing is going to happen. Spirituality is not like a Christianity or Islam, whereby say you just go and pray to God and then your answers come. Spirituality is not religion. In religion, you pray and hope and have faith. In spirituality, you ask, what is wrong with me? Or what is happening before this situation? Why am I going through this situation? You ask that question to God. You don't just say that because you are not getting a job, or you are not getting a husband, you're not getting a wife, or things are going on, and so God, my situation is bad, so please help me. God has seen your situation, and He knows. You don't need to tell Him. If God is all-knowing, you don't need to tell Him. Yes, He knows. It is you who does not know what is happening. That's why you must find out what is happening on me, what is happening to me. Then, when you find out, or you found out what is happening to you, the next question is, how can I solve this problem? How can I overcome the challenges that I am going through? The spirit world is going to be, is if it's able to tell you what is happening on you, they will also be able to tell you what to do to escape or get out and get away from the problem or the issue at hand or the challenge you have. But if the spirit world gives you a guideline and tells you that do this, do that, and get away from it, and then you use your human judgment and say, no, I don't think that is the issue, and you don't do according to the guideline of the spiritual world, unfortunately, you may not be successful the way you want it. Prayer alone does not solve all problems. It is through reading you will know what to do. So spirituality is more of practicality, action-oriented than just mental imagination of saying, oh, I believe God will do it. I believe God will do it. I hope God is going to hear my prayer. No God is going to hear your prayer if you don't do the right, don't pass through the right channel. I think even in the Bible somewhere, I don't know the place to quote right now, but they say that God is saying that if you know my name and you call me, I will answer. And what is the name of God? Do you know the name of God? And before going to call him and he answer you, everybody is calling him God, but that's not his name. That's why he said, if you know my name and you call me, I will answer you. He said, when you ask me, you will be given. And when you knock the door, it will be open unto you. Do you know which door to knock? Do you know how to ask? These are the things that you get when you do a reading. This is where the names of the name of God that you need to call at that time will come in the reading, because all the oracles that fall, they are deities on their own. So the oracles will tell you, okay, this is what you should use. Then God will listen to you. This is what you should use. So when you knock the door will be open. And this is what it is. So when you do a reading and you don't think that the rituals that follow a reading are important, I'm very sorry that you cannot really attain what you want to attain. So this is what I want to discuss with you people today. And then if you have questions, you can ask me questions about what I've just said about doing a reading and following that reading with a ritual that change the situation in which you are. Without it, don't expect that you just pray and it just happens. If you pray and it happens, sometimes it's a coincidence. But in spirituality, we know exactly what we will use to borrow the hole inside the tree. The spirit world will tell you what to use to thread the needle. You don't just keep praying that the thread is going to pass through the needle and calling Jehovah, calling all kinds of things. You must know the name that we will use that will move the thread to pass through the needle. Thank you very much. So I have a Jamal Parker here saying, greetings, Bokor, Voncujovi. Can you explain what you know about soulmate and perhaps twin flames? I greatly appreciate your opinion and teachings. Okay. I don't know so much about twin flames, and I don't know so much about soulmates. My understanding of soulmate is that another human being born from a different mother and a father, or sometimes born by the same parents, might have met in their previous life, and then when they meet again in this life, their souls connect in such a way that they are so close to each other and they understand each other. The things that people do, they do separately, yet still they can agree. And when they are with each other, it's a very pleasant feeling that they do have. And I think that's what a soulmate is. Someone who is your partner in a way, not necessarily a lover, not necessarily a friend, but someone whose soul or inner self agrees with your inner self. And both of you can rhyme in a way that there will not be much difficulty. Unlike some people who are not your soulmates, you can, once you meet them, it does not work. But when you meet the person who you and that person had a past life, of course you will not know that you have had a past life, but your meeting will tell that you cannot even explain how and why the two of you can work together successfully or stay together successfully. So, Jamal Parker, I think that's what I can understand, or I understood about soulmates. And I think if twin flames is similar to that, then it is. I don't know about twin flames very much. Somebody put the twin flame on the list. Let me see it again. Say what are twin flame? What they are plus 11 signs you found yours. Okay, a twin flame is an intense soul connection with someone thought to be a person's other half, sometimes called mirror soul. It's based on the okay. Yeah, I would not call it your better half, that the person is another half of you. Rather, I will say that maybe in your past lives you have met before, and that's what attract you to the person. Person can be a child, person can be an adult. Just like how Shamba Musa was saying he had a dream about me where he was asking some questions. In fact, I think 2 days ago, I also had a dream about him where I was teaching him or we were doing some rituals together. I can't really remember, but in our oracles, my oracle in Afa, on which I am, is the direct opposite oracle of Shamba Musa. So, though we are very far apart and we are very far in age, our oracles just are like twins. It's back to back. So sometimes he has some dream, I also have the same dream. Or he thought about something, and I also think about the same thing. So that kind of things you can tell that maybe in your past lives you had met before, and that's how I will say it. But instead of saying that it's your better half, it's your second half, I will not take it that way. I will say that there is a high possibility that myself and him, we might have met in another lifetime before this. So that's what I can say. So but then I'm reading the twin flames here, and there are so many things because a connection with someone thought to be a person's other half, sometimes called mirror soul. It's based on the idea that sometimes one soul gets split into two bodies. One of the main characteristics of a twin flame relationship is that it will be both challenging and healing. This is due to the mirroring nature of a twin flame. They show you your deepest insecurities, fears, and shadows, and they also help you overcome them, and vice versa. Your twin flame will be equally affected by you. Okay, so that's another, that's a way to explain, but I wouldn't say that it was somebody's half. The soul is split into two. I don't think the soul can be split into two. From the learnings that I have learned so far, I have not heard a soul being split into two, but rather there's a possibility that these souls had met at one time in a lifetime. Which lifetime, I cannot tell. No, that's what I can say. So thank you very much, Mr. Jamal Parker, for that question, and we are all learning. And then we have Oziman Diaz saying, "Good afternoon, Papa. Looks like the sound is down a bit." Okay, please. That was about 18 minutes ago. Have you changed the sound? Okay.
The sound is okay. Check the phone.
Now is he okay?
No, okay, since
Okay, so Oziman, please check your device you are using, because according to my technical team, they say the sound is okay, but it's good to let us know. So, yeah, so we go to our sister Telly Marie. Telly here say, "Good afternoon, Baba. May you and your family have a wonderful day and a wonderful week." Thank you very much, Sister Telly Marie. Telly, thank you very much for joining, and may you have a very wonderful week as well. May the ancestors continue to guide you and bless you. So we have Lillian Gladstone here saying, "Good afternoon, Papa. How do you do?" "Oh, I'm doing well. How do you do too?" Thank you very much for joining. And then we have our big sister Oluchi Osuoke here. "Great evening, Papa, with peace and love. My regards to the family." Thank you very much, big sister Oluchi Osuoke. I'm glad that you have joined the section. Very grateful to you. Then we have on YouTube, Blessed, good afternoon, sir. Blessed is saying good afternoon to you. And then Blessed, there is no sound, okay? Somebody also complaining about no sound. So we have Mike Perea here saying good afternoon, everybody. Mike Perea again saying, Papa, the brain is inside your head, and it is said your mind is outside your body. Is that true? Can you talk about the connection between your spirit and your mind, or is it one? Thank you. Okay, that's a very interesting question. Yes, the brain is inside your head, and the mind dwells in the brain. The mind can be in and out of the body, just like how your soul, your physical body is known that this is like my name, Christopher Voncujovi, and this is my face. But then when I want to talk about me, I am pointing to my chest, means there is an inner self that I am trying to point to by saying me. I did not say me by pointing my hand up, but I point with the fingers back to myself, saying that me or I means that the, what do you call it, my inner self. So the spirit of the human being dwells in the body, as it was even said in the Bible or in some other holy books of religious people, by saying that you are the temples of God. And what is God? That's your inner self. You are the temples of God. And God does not dwell in temples made with hands, like you make a building. God doesn't dwell in those temples, but God dwells within you. And your inner self is the God that dwells within you. And because the soul and the mind are kind of intertwined or interwoven as one thing, they do not die. And they need physical existence sometimes to be able to develop and move forward. And when the body dies, the mind doesn't die. The mind and the soul travel as one. They are the same. So they travel as one thing, because the soul, the mind becomes the recorder, or maybe become the, what do you call it? The viewfinder, while the soul becomes the camera, which is recording whatever you are doing. So the mind is like looking at the thing and sending the information to the soul, or the inner self, or the essay to record. So this too doesn't die. The brain will die, the body will die, but the mind and the soul never dies. When one body, the body falls off, the soul and the mind goes away and wait for a chance to be born again, which we call reincarnation. And then when the soul comes back into a body, the mind develops in the with it. And when the brain and everything is formed, now the head is where the brain lives, or where the brain is. So the mind will use the brain as its physical tool to be able to work. It's very difficult, scientific, it's quite difficult to explain to you to understand until you begin to experience it yourself. Of course, I can talk about it generally, but the experience becomes the better teacher when it comes to this kind of topics. Because the mind and because you can, people who are very active spiritually, who are very conscious spiritually, can move out of can move their spirit out of their body consciously. I'm not talking about dream. Can move their mind out of their body and be able to see beyond the physical world and be able to bring that information back and teach people and guide people and tell people things. This is what it is. So the mind can be outside the body, at the same time can be inside the body. We can even use the dream scenario where you sleep during the night or any other time. You can be dreaming, your mind is now traveling with your soul to different places. Some places you will recognize as if you had been there before. Some may be very new to you. You may be doing so many actions and as if you were in a physical world, and before you realize it was a dream. Because your body at that time became, what would I say, weak, and is not in charge. It's only the soul and the mind that are in charge. So until they travel and come back, the body is lying down as if it were useless. So during death, when death occurs, that's the time the mind and the soul travel away and do not come back to the human body. And since they do not come back to the human body, the connection is cut off and you are declared a dead person. So the mind and the soul are like one, intertwined. It's very difficult to separate them because it's just like the hand, the human hand. You can't separate the back from the front here. This is the front and this is the back. You can't separate them. They go together. It's just like you and your shadow. No one can separate your shadow from you. When you are walking and you don't see your shadow, that doesn't mean it's not there. It's there, but because there is no light that can reflect it, that's why you don't see it. But it's always there with you. So the soul and the mind are one. But the body and the brain are also one. The brain can die, the body can die, but the soul and the mind never dies. Thank you. Then we go to, I think that was a question from Mike Perea. Hope I made it clear, and you can again ask more questions concerning if it is not very clear for you. Last 20 years against Papa, I had a dream 3 days ago where I saw myself in ancient Greece in front of a sea when it gifted my 3 octopus, which 2 were white and 1 black. What does this mean, please, Papa? Lillian, I'm not very sure what it may mean or what it might mean, but there's a possibility that you are going back into your past life. Since it was ancient Greece, and you probably was in that part of the world at one time. So they're just revealing certain things to you. And maybe the time you were in ancient Greece, you may not be a black woman like today, or you may not be a white woman like today. You could be any other race. Because it is not that when we are born black this time, so in every lifetime we were black people or we were white people. Your soul can choose for you where to go and what race to be born into. So your dream, I don't know, but I think it may be your past life that is being revealed to you. So if you want to know exactly what that dream meant, my advice would be you should do a reading to find out what the dream is. But from what you have described here on the surface, I would say that you probably had gone back into your past life somewhere, and you were just seeing yourself there in the ancient Greece. Because you know, ancient Greece was a center of education and knowledge and wisdom at one time. A lot of people went there to learn. And then they also learned from ancient Egypt and other parts, and then people also went there to learn. So there is high possibility that your soul was just showing you your past life. That's why I said earlier that sometimes you'll be dreaming, you'll go to a place and you will feel as if you have been here before. The place looks familiar. Sometimes you will go to other places and you look very totally new to that place. But then when you had been somewhere before, and when you go back and your soul goes back there in a dream, you surely had been there. Because everything seems familiar, nothing looks strange. How could that happen? That only could be told because you had at one time been there, maybe not in this lifetime. Thank you very much, Lillian Gladstone. Thank you for the question. So we have Kasnova, Sarang, this Sam. Please, I need to find out something about my wife. Sickness. I am outside. Can you do any divination for me? Yes, Casanova, they can. You need to call our contact lines, which are already there on this thing, but they will give it to you again, and we will. Or you go on to Revolution Facebook page, and you can fill in the form for what do you call it? For divination, and then the instructions will be given to you what to do and how to contact us for the divination. So your wife's sickness can be found out, whether even if she is at the end of the world, we can still find out and then let you know what the issues are. Thank you very much. Okay, so technical team, check on the Zoom and see if anybody wants to ask any question direct with the Zoom. If they want, nobody. Okay, so on Clubhouse, is anybody wanting to ask any question to me? Oh, you're welcome. Casanova is saying thank you. Thank you too. Thanks for the question. We're all learning and we are all listening. Thank you very much for that. So, any question from Clubhouse?
If anybody has any question, please raise your hand and come up, and then you'll be able to ask your question. Thank you.
Okay, which part is that? The Zoom? YouTube.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So we have a YouTube question here. Saying Mike Peria say, Papa, I'm so surprised yesterday. I walk on the street and an Indian man passed me and looked at my forehead and called me. He talked about was going on in, he talked about what was going on in my life. He was 100% right. Interesting. Yes, people are there who are having eyes who can see. So sometimes you meet such people. Yeah, it's not strange. It's just that you are not used to that, that's why. Then that person probably has an eye and can see into the future and into the past. So you should have taken his number and get his contact so that you can get closer to know more and ask him what you can do to overcome whatever he has seen in your life. So I'm waiting for people's questions and everything. So please send in your question. Don't be shy about it. Ask whatever question you want to ask, and we'll try to explain. And if I had explained something that is not very clear to you, you can still ask an additional question to that, so that I can find a way to explain it more if my explanation didn't really get your understanding. Yeah.
Please, for those on Clubhouse, please, if you can share the live section so that people who follow you will be able to also know that this is going on. I believe the sharing button is on the left, the bottom left side. So please share so that people can come. Thank you. Hello, Papa.
Yes,
Please, I have a question. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. Anybody, you can ask a question, and other people can learn from that too.
Yes. And so I think this week I was telling you about my own experiences with the Obubuyaya, the dwarf that you introduced me to, and how he was able to teach me some herbs, and we had some very, very interesting experiences. But I wanted to ask if you could briefly explain to us what dwarfs are in Vodou practice, and what are they known for, and perhaps your experience or what you can tell us about dwarfs and their relationship with every people or with Vodou practice, or what's their purpose.
Okay, dwarfs, as they are called in English, and I believe every culture and every language has their own name for them. In every culture, the dwarfs are called Aziza. In every language, the dwarfs are called Aziza. But interestingly, there are some people call it Age. So the Age spirit that people are teaching others is more of a fake than reality. That's when we call it Age. Because the people who claim to have Age are people, when you go to them, they are using ventriloquism, and they will be deceiving you and telling you that it's a dwarf or Age is speaking. They make like all kind of noises, and the owner of the Age will be translating for you what the Age was saying. Because you will be hearing some sound, But since you don't speak the language of the Age, the owner or the person who say that they have the Age will be translating for you. But most of the time, this Age thing is a lie. It's a scam. Yeah, that's the modern word. It's just deceiving and cheating people. Because it is very hardly a spirit speaks in a human voice. For spirits to speak in a human voice, it's very, very hard. It's not very common. So wherever you go and people to start telling you that spirit speaks in a human voice, like you are hearing them talking, like you and somebody explaining to you, you should be afraid that someone is actually trying to scam you or deceive you. Dwarves or Aziza are elementals. They are called they are elementary spirits. And they are in between the physical world and the spirit world. That's how our people know them to be. A dwarf can physically appear to you through rituals, and you can communicate with it, and you will understand everything that it's saying. And also, a dwarf may not physically, you won't see it physically, but it can still also communicate with you in your mind and teach you things that you want to know or questions that you want to ask. So it is not only in Ewe Vodou that they have dwarfs. Dwarfs are in Akan, Komfo, in India, in Japan, and in Europe. If dwarfs were not there, the word dwarfs wouldn't have come, and you can say that the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I even watched the movie yesterday on a television, Snow White, and I think it's a new one. I don't know, but so that means dwarfs exist. They are like human beings, and at the same time they are spirits. Like the one I saw when I was just about 6 or 7 years old, and there was nobody there. I was alone. I went to my grandfather's cocoa farm, and there was a pit toilet where I went to ease myself. And when I was sitting on that pit toilet, then I saw the thing moving and was riding something like an elephant, because the thing has tusk. And being a child, I've never seen an elephant before. I only have an idea of what an elephant is. I've only heard of how an elephant look like. So me seeing some tusk and a thing sitting, the tusk of an animal and something sitting on it, I thought the person was riding an elephant. It was later when I grew up, before I realized that it wasn't an elephant, but it was rather what do you call it? A hawk.
Wild boar.
Wild boar, a hawk, yeah. So, and how did I know? Because when I was dealing with people who said they have dwarfs, and they were telling me that dwarfs actually, they ride on wild boars. So then it took my mind back to my childhood when I saw this animal, listen, carrying someone, and I thought that was elephant, but it was a wild pig or wild boar or hawk with the teeth out, so it was looking like a tusk for me. Or it looked like a tusk at that time. So dwarfs are there, but there's a lot of scam people around who do not have dwarfs, where they find a way to create a system whereby they can deceive you perfectly, and it will be very hard for you to know whether they were telling you the truth or telling you lies, unless you remain with them for a very long time before you discover their tricks. Unlike a real dwarf, where you have been given the seed and you have been introduced to the dwarf, wherever you are in the world, that dwarf can come and service you or work for you or work with you at your call. You know its name and you know the incantation, how to invoke it or how to call it. You can work with it. So dwarfs are entities that are between human being, the physical world, and the spirit or the psychic world. So they can change from time to become physical. Sometimes they can go back into the psychic. That's why they are called magical beings, because they are in between. But they fall into the group of the elementals, and they are the bottom of the ladder of spirits, I may say, and they are nature spirits. Because I think one time I thought about salamanders, undines, gnomes, and sylphs. These spirits, like the salamanders, are like fiery spirits that live in fire. And then we have the gnomes. So dwarves fall into the group of gnomes, spirits that are of earth bound, or which are connected to the material earth as matter. So the dwarves fall into the spirit of the gnomes, and then we have the undines, which are of watery, live in water bodies. Some of them may be called mamiwatas, as we are talking about. And then we have salamanders, which are spirits that are also, they can also be dwarfs, but they are in fire. And the mamiwatas also could be dwarfs. That's why sometimes they say they are water dwarfs. But people just take them for granted to say that so long as they are called dwarfs, they can only be on the physical surface or earth. But some dwarfs are water dwarfs, some are on the earth, some are in water, some are in fire, and some are in the air. So when you look at the Arabian Nights, or you read the Arabian Night stories, you realize that some of the dwarfs, they call them jinns. And these jinns sometimes come in the form of air. And they appear after a kind of a storm, and then it appears in that storm. So you may say that those genes, some of those genes are coming from the what do you call it, the self aspect of existence. I don't know how to put it properly, but as I said, the earth is liquid. There is the light and sound. So the salamanders are there. They can be dwarfs who are salamanders too, and there can be dwarfs who are gnomes. But then we in Africa, most people know when they say dwarfs, we are talking about the gnomes. And the gnome, the spelling of gnome is GNOMES, I think, yeah, GNO. They are spirits, and they are earthborn. So I don't know whether you have had that experience, or anybody who is listening to me had an experience that you go into an empty building somewhere where nobody is living in. It could be a completed building, or maybe it's not completed, but no one is living in that building anymore. Either people have moved out or people are yet to move in. When you go to such places, you begin to feel as if there is a presence, and sometimes you get the goosebumps or goose pimples on your body. what you are actually experiencing is gnomes. There are spirits there, which are what we call the dwarfs. Some people call them the dwarfs. But they fall into, there are so many different dwarfs. Some fell into that physical plane, so they call them the gnomes. And when you experience them, you can, you feel them. You feel that something is looking at you, something is around, but you cannot see it because they are not physical. So sometimes through rituals and everything, you may be able to invoke their presence and they appear to you physically, and after that they vanish into thin air. So like what I taught you people is when I gave you the seed or the initiation into that dwarf, introduce you to that dwarf. I've given you some physical thing like the calabash, and I also draw the seal of the dwarf, this particular dwarf, Obubuyaya. I drew the seal inside the calabash. And I told you can call it inside the calabash. If you want to invoke it live or you want to invoke it and look at it, then you must pour some liquid into the calabash and then continue its invocation, and it may appear depending on each and everybody. Some people may not see, but even if you cannot see it, when you hold the calabash and you invoke it, the Obubuyaya or the dwarf can vibrate and show you that its presence is here. So it is good that you, my children and my students, you were able to try to invoke it, and it was able to teach you about things that you didn't know, and also about herbs that you can use for certain things. This is how our ancestors came about what you call Joka, Vodou, and all this, because it is these spirits of nature. They had been here long before we came, before human beings came. So they know the world so well, and they know the herb and the herbal colony, or what would I say, herbal life. I'm not talking about herbal life as in business. I'm talking, they know about herbs, and they know which herbs can be combined with which other herbs to create changes. So most of the Joka and the Vodous that we, our ancestors have had, some came from these dwarfs because they taught them how to put things together to get some energy to be working for them. So Obubuyaya is one of the dwarfs that I have dealt with for some time before recently introducing it to you people, and I'm glad that it's responding to you all very well. So that's it. So dwarfs in general are spirits which are between physical and physical world and spiritual world. But then for the dwarf, it is easy for them to take a physical presence so that you can see them and then they disappear. Unlike other spirits, it's very difficult, other higher spirits, it's very difficult to really bring them to manifest themselves physically for you. But dwarfs are easy to deal with if you know how to. Thank you very much, Sena. I don't know whether my explanation makes any sense, but I mean, I think...
Papa, yes. It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And I guess we were initiated sometime at the beginning of January because Vikram was still there at the time. So now we are in April. Mm-hmm. So we've had a chance to really work with the spirits and started with using it in Ghana. And I think before I was introduced to this Obubuyaya, we had our own experiences with some other people who were claiming to have dwarfs but were not. And so at the time I was more interested in seeing a dwarf. And I think because of social media or Hollywood or the imagery of dwarf, people are very interested or are more concerned with seeing a dwarf physically than actually working with the dwarf. And I certainly was one of those people that was just interested in seeing a dwarf. But I think the introduction to Obukuyaya has shown me that you don't need to see the dwarf in order for the dwarf to be working. Actually, the dwarf speaks very, very clearly, very surprising level of clarity, as if you are talking to a human being. It's just that you'll be talking to your mind. And I think if you are advanced a little bit, then the information that it can give you is much, much more clear. Very, very specific information, like says he likes reggae music, and he likes Peter Tosh's music more than Bob Marley. And he tells us the time that we should call him. We should call him at 3 a.m. or 3 p.m. And he comes and he tells you very specific herbs. Sometimes herbs you don't even know. And he will tell you you should bring this, bring that. If somebody and different do, because we didn't know what work it has set. And you told us some of the things he's done for you, but we also wanted to ask him. And I remember in Ghana we had a situation where we were 4 people, and it was me, Vikram, and Lami, and we booked him inside the calabash at 3:04 a.m. And one of us took a notebook. The other person was looking inside the calabash. He was even able to appear in the calabash. He was wearing a red shirt. He was smoking a pipe, and he was just telling us things about our life and what he can do. So very, very, very direct, very easy, not too difficult to deal with, and also very effective, because when he taught us these potions or these things that we should make, I went ahead and I made them. And I was myself, I was doubting if the thing that he taught us was it a real thing, or is it that I was just thinking about it in my head. But when I tested it, it has really shown me that no, that thing that he taught me is a very real thing, and it's working here in Japan very well.
Okay,
so,
Senna, hold on.
I'm very, very happy.
So you see, sometimes when you are dealing with spirits, you need to deal with the spirit for some time to really have confidence in that spirit, and then you can feel that that spirit is really talking to you. Most of the time, it comes like an intuition. It comes like your instinct, or you hear a direction from your inner self or in your mind. Sometimes you think that you are just imagining it. Sometimes you, as a person who is hearing these messages, you think that you are just imagining things. But when you apply whatever was told to you or whatever was taught to you, when you applied it on the physical plane and it works, then you realize that, oh, so it was the real thing. This is how spiritual world is all about. You need to be very, 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 the English word is like alert always when you are dealing with spirits. You must be very clear in your mind and be able to take notes of whatever they are telling you. Because it is not you who is just imagining things. When you invoke the presence of a spirit, and the moment you see the vibration of the spirit comes upon you, you should know that you are no more imagining. There is a presence. And whatever each of you or any of you around is thinking concerning the spirit and questions to the spirit will be answering you directly to your minds. And that is why you need to be attentive and make sure you take note of everything. This is how spirits communicate with people.
Thank you, Papa. It's true, because even if you are hearing it, if you at the beginning you just think that it's your mind or you're just saying it, but it's from the practical application of whatever that spirit is teaching you, and then seeing the results first in you yourself, and then with time maybe you start to see its effect in other people even beyond you, and at that point then it moves from just some make believe to knowledge, because now you know that that thing there is a real thing.
Yeah, that's very good. That's very good. Thank you very much for that question, and I hope my explanation of what dwarf and the psychic world, elementals, as we call them, elementals. You know, the elementals come and then you go higher to angels and then archangels and to other things. These are all entities in the universe. They don't belong to any particular race or to any culture. They are in every culture. They are universal. You can tap them, give them your name, or if they choose, they can give you the what name you should call them. They may be in another part of the world. They may not be called the name that you call them here, but they are the same entity because they are not limited by time, space, or person. They are always wherever they want to be at any time when they desire.
Thank you, Bob.
You're welcome. And then we have our sister Vivian Bakahi Papa. Sometimes I can feel it when someone has bad thoughts or planning bad against me. I don't know if it is my intuition or my inner self trying to tell me something. Yes, Vivian, it is usually the inner self is the one that brings the intuition. The inner self and the mind are interconnected. That's why I was teaching earlier. So it is your inner self that was feeling that person's energy towards you, or feeling that person's mind towards you, and then your mind, your intuition through the inner self responded to let you know that this person, even though they are not speaking with their mouth, even though they are not doing any action, but in reality, your inner self and them are not connected, they are against you. So it is both intuition and inner self, because the intuition, instinct, and the inner self, they all work together as a team. So they are one team. Then we have Ajete Ajay here. Papa, good afternoon. Hello, Ajete. How are you? Thank you very much for joining us. We have Telly Marie. Telly, can you move the cursor up a little bit? Yeah, we have our sister Telly Marie, Telly here again. So true, Baba. Sometimes there are things people do that can cause them to come about into one's living space, as if a portal opens up and they walk through freely into people's homes and unannounced. You are very right, Telly Marie. That's exactly what I was trying to say. That's very, very true, because you may do certain things and you open your doors for some energies to come through. That's why in our Aveland, it is advisable that during the night, don't be whistling. Like, you shouldn't be doing those things when you are at night, because you can also imagine at that time, there weren't so much modernization, and there was not so much electricity. We live in dark places during the night. If there's no daylight, the places are dark, and that kind of places are exposed to spirits because they feel more comfortable when human beings are not looking at them or peering into their private lives. So they live in the dark. So our people say that during the night when you are whistling, you may be inviting them because they may think that you are one of their group, and they may come and appear to you, and then you are in trouble. So you are very right, Telly Marie. Telly, thank you very much for that. And then we have our big sister Oluchi Osuwoke here. I find myself doing herbs medicine in my dream, Papa, last night. Does it mean something, peace and love? Yeah, of course, you are picking herbs. So I think this, our African traditional spirituality, is all based on nature, herbs. And herbs are what bring the changes. Every Vodou that we have in our African traditional spirituality has gotten one herb or the other, because it is the combination of herbs that bring the energies to come down to become spirits. It's just like your telephone, when you put a certain chip into it, you receive the message through that network. So the herbs become the things that are put in a telephone. When you combine certain herbs in a container or in a place and with certain activation words, then you can now activate the energies. So your dream may be talking about herbs. I think you need to do more herbal things, especially maybe herbal bath and all this thing to make changes come. Yeah, you may need herbal bath. But the problem is you are far in France. We are here in Africa. Unless I get someone going to Europe, I can't really bundle herbs to you. But I'll see what I can do and send you some herbs. Yeah, I've been saying that I'll send you things, but it will come. Thank you very much for that. And then Telly say, I write my comment above addressing your comment about the gnomes. Okay, thank you very much. Yes, the gnomes are everywhere. Sometimes we unknowingly and we invite them without really knowing. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, gnomes. A lot of people who are doing African traditional spirituality do not know about these things called spirits called gnomes. They are called salamanders. There are spirits called sylphs. And then there are spirits called undines. People do not know. So we only know about Mami water spirit. But we don't know that the Mami water falls into the group of spirits called undines, or water spirits. So I'm very happy that you pointed that out. Thank you very much, Telly. Very grateful. And then our sister Oluchi is saying also okay, saying okay, Papa. Thank you very much, big sister Oluchi. Very grateful. Okay, we have our Juliet here. Juliet A saying good afternoon. Hope hope you are all doing well. Blessings to you in the AMT. Thank you very much, Juliet A. And then we have Mike Perea again. Say, Papa, in my opinion, protection is key. Having money without protection is useless. But these days, it seems that people in general only go to shrine for wealth. Do you agree? Yes, I agree with you 120% or 100%. Yes, I do agree with you, because it is a human being who is alive that can enjoy money. Dead people do not enjoy wealth. They left their wealth all behind and they are gone. So when you are doing spiritual things, or you are looking, even if it's not spiritual, and you are trying to develop and upgrade yourself in life, and you don't protect yourself, anything can happen to you and take you away from what you are trying to acquire. So to be rich, to be poor, to be successful, first and the foremost is to protect yourself, so that death or any negative energy does not come and take you away from what you are striving to build. Protection is very, very, very important. I agree with you 120%. Yes, protection is very, very important. That's why at our shrine, when we do a reading for you and it is necessary to do a protection, and if the spirit says they should protect you first, we will. Because there are certain oracles, when they fall for you, the oracle will directly tell that you are so busy trying to acquire material wealth, and you've forgotten about your own life. Sometimes spirits will try to protect you even if you don't ask them for protection. When you are initiated into them, you may be looking for some opportunity to open for you, and all that your mind is that opportunity to open for you, and you are chasing it. But when the spirit world sees that even after you get that opportunity or that chance open for you, and you would not be alive to enjoy what you were fighting or struggling to get, your spirits that are with you will now divert their attention from looking for the wealth for you and continue to use it to protect you. And when they are done with the protection and they know you are now safe, now they will open that door so that the wealth or the physical wealth can come in. Sometimes we ask for things and we don't get them. We think that maybe our God or our spirits or our ancestors are not listening to us. Sometimes your ancestors are actually protecting you from what will take you away from the good thing they will be opening to you. So patience is also very, very, very much important in spiritual practice. And we should all try to have patience. And with patience, you can move mountains. Thank you very much. Okay, and let's see Facebook if you have anything there. And people on Zoom, if you want to ask me open question, please do. Okay, I think we have Silas Airakwa. How do I know myself as a man, please? How do I know myself as a man, please? Silas, you cannot know yourself as a man unless you go to find a spiritualist who can guide you and do a reading for you and do whatever is necessary for you to know yourself. Because you know yourself as a man, but the way you are asking is you want to know what is your purpose here as a human being on this planet, in this phase of life. What is your purpose? What should you do to be successful? What should you do to avoid danger? That can only be told to you by people who had already been on the path. So my advice to you is that you should see a spiritualist, book an appointment with a spiritualist, and then do a reading so that you can know about yourself as a man. Thank you very much. I think there's another question there. Oh, I think you should stop this Zoom thing. If people will join, they will join. They have seen it. If they are not seeing it, then where's somebody replying to Vivian Baka, she herself, Papa, sometimes I can feel it when, okay, Vivian Baka, I say, thank you, Papa, please, what should I do? Because sometimes it scares me. Vivian, I think we are already on the path. I am going to send you your bracelet very soon, and you now know what the bracelet is all about. It's to protect you from people who are having bad mind towards you. They can have their bad minds towards you. You cannot stop that. You cannot change that. But what we will be doing for you, or we have done for you, is that they may have the bad minds against you, but it will not come near you. No matter how much they may try, it cannot affect you negatively. Your bracelets are ready. It's only for me to get them packaged and then post them to you. Thank you very much. Yes. We don't have any question on Facebook and YouTube. Okay. So anybody on Clubhouse that wants to ask, or Zoom who wanted to ask any question?
To know the difference between a gnome spirit and the spirit of another ancestor, or maybe even a dark spirit as well. Is there any sign or anything like this to know the difference?
You said if there's any way to know the difference between a gnome spirit and ancestor?
Yes.
Yeah, ancestors are ancestors, but sometimes these gnomes and these undines and salamanders can also work for the ancestors because they are more like servants. So sometimes the ancestors can pass message through the gnomes or them to you, or your messages can be carried through them to them, because the spirit world is not a physical world, so we cannot know everything that happens in there. What we know is that when we pray to our ancestors, if the answer comes and it is a positive answer for us, then we know they have answered our prayers. Whatever spirit had taken the messages to them, or whether they themselves come directly to receive the messages, we don't know. That's the fact. But once you are dealing with the spirit world, all these things can be of assistance to you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Baba.
You're welcome.
Hello, Papa.
Yes.
Going back to the question of Obubuyaya, you mentioned that gnomes are elemental spirits.
Yeah.
What's the difference between an elemental spirit and a spirit like Togbe Chopata or an archangel or things like that in simple terms?
Yes, that's why I'm saying that there are spirit. The elementals are very easy spirits, and we have elementals, and then we have angels. Then we have archangels. We have principalities, and we have divinities. Many names for them. An elemental is basic things. They do very basic things. There are certain things that an elemental cannot accomplish, but elemental can work also for a deity. Jopata and all these things are more of archangels, and that's why they are called deities. They are more of archangels because in our evil land we call angels, we call them Maudola in Ebe. But then the Maudola means servant of God. So deities and archangels and angels are more like servants of God, whether the God exists as an individual or God exists as a universal energy. I cannot tell in this context. That the deities are also gods, or the archangels are also gods, and the combination of all this, from the very elementary or elemental spirit to the highest whatever archangel or whatever, and even the herbs, the grasses, and all these things, they all fall into what we call God. They all fall into what is nature. So dwarfs or gnomes or elemental spirits can be even the spirit behind a herb. So when you go to that herb and speak to the herb is just a plant, but the energy behind it can be an elementary spirit. So when you combine all these elementary spirits which are working with herbs or behind each herb, and you combine them in the proper combination, then they form a strong energy to be able to fight, because in unity there is strength. So Jokpata and all these things are also made out of herbs, but their vibration is much higher than elementary spirit or elementals.
And because they are made up of multiple elementals or multiple herbs, not just one.
Yes, they may be, because they are made of multiple herbs, and also under them, see, the incantations also tell how the incantation of the spirit, or the initiation also tells you the quality, or is it quality, I would say, the standard of the spirit, where it stands. Because when you are in primary school, the way you talk is different from when you are in the university. But you are all going to school, or you are all in school. So when you listen to the incantation of a particular energy or spirit or deity, you can tell that this deity is not an elementary deity, or it does not fall into elementals. So, like you see, like the incantation of Voncujovi is very simple. It's a very simple incantation, but then the spirit can appear. But then in the case of Jokpata, you can see how many stanzas of incantation that continue, and Jokpata is explaining who he is, what he can do for you, and why no one can attack you if he's with you. So you can now see that energy and an elementary energy like Obubuya, they are all active, they are all playing their role. No one is actually greater than anyone, because each depend on the other. So like Tobu Jokpata, like a deity, all the kable, or the binding things that we have and everything are with him, and they are working under him. But you can use any of them. They are also entities on their own to bind. And you are asking permission from Jokpata to let them do this work. And then when you use them, bind, they work. Because they will be supervised by somebody, and they will make sure the work is done. So elementary spirits are there. It's even if when you go onto the internet, or you get the books that you have, you will see that the elementary spirits are also in their category. Their level is there. And then higher spirits and deities and all this, and they are all there separately. But each one is working with the other, or depending on the other. Because without the elementals, the deities can also not really work.
Thank you, Papa.
You're welcome.
If there's anybody on Clubhouse who have a question, please go ahead. I think Papa Ifako already. Please go ahead.
Peace and blessings, Baba.
Okay,
I
thank
have
you.
another question with regards to elementals.
Yes, go ahead.
Or spirits of the north. Thank you. So can they incarnate into people, or sometimes do we embody or embody that elemental?
I am not very sure whether elementals can incarnate as human beings. That one I am not very sure. But elementals can also possess people. And during that possession, they can tell you certain secrets of healing, things that you need to do, especially with people who cannot consciously invoke them and work with them. You know, there are all kind of there are also different types of human beings. Some people are easily possessed or mounted by spirits, not by their own conscious doing by trying to invoke the spirit to come and mount them and pass through them. Some are very easy to be mounted by spirits. And in such kind of people or such kind of people, when an elemental mounts you, it will speak through you and give you ideas and or tell you things that are to happen or things that can be used to help a society, help people when it's like healing or whatever, or even telling you what is going to happen tomorrow. But the person that this spirit has possessed or this elemental has possessed is not by themselves a real spiritual person. They may be initiated into some things or they may not even be initiated, but these spirits can mount them. Unlike people who are are initiated into the spirit itself, you can invoke the spirit, and if you are taught the way, you can invoke that elemental and be able to consciously work with it by taking note of whatever is teaching you and then later applying whatever it has taught you to see whether it is real. But for an elemental to change and become and born a human being, that one I don't know yet. There is possibility, but I don't have any idea yet. Because my belief is that the elementals or spirits in general have been created in such a way that they also exist in their field. But for spirits to transfer from spirit world and come into human world and take human form, maybe there is, because I think the Bible spoke about angels coming into the earth and impregnating women, and then they gave birth to children and all these things. So maybe that's possible, but I personally have not yet had so much knowledge about it, and I wouldn't like to teach about what I cannot defend. So maybe there is possibility that elementals or spirits in general can take human form, but I haven't really learned so much about that. I'll continue learning and maybe I'll get there. Thank you. Baba Ifa Karade.
Thank you so much for that answer.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you too.
Papa, on that topic, you were mentioning that dwarfs exist in all cultures.
Yes.
And I remember that when we were talking about Obubu Yaya, actually how we got to realize or you remembered him because you hadn't been using him for a long time, was that we were talking about asking you to tell me about the Japanese dwarf that you used to work with long before you even came to Japan to come and meet Mama, who is my mother. And so now that I'm connected with dwarfs in some way through talking about that dwarf, we got to know about this other dwarf, Ububuyaya. I'm just interested to know your experiences with Japanese dwarf and how is it that people in Ghana were able to connect with a dwarf in Japan that lives in some mountain in Kobe.
Yeah, that dwarf is called Roko.
Roko.
Yeah, that particular dwarf is called Roko. And I think it lives in Mount Roko in Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
So, you see, spirits are universal entities. As I said earlier, they are not limited by a place, a person, or a distance. They can be anywhere any time. And if someone has some way of drawing them near, they can be in Saudi Arabia, like the spirit, the dwarf called Small Boy Danger. The dwarf called Small Boy Danger. It's an Arabian spirit. It's an Arabian jinn or dwarf, but it works with us. So spirits can be anywhere. They can work with you if they think that you want to work with them, or if they think that you are a good person they can work with, or if you have some idea, somebody give you their incantation and you are able to invoke and they are able to appear, they are ready to work with you, because they are just general servants of the world. They are doing God's work. It is their duty to serve humanity, and that's what they are doing. So whoever is ready to work with them, they will be ready to work with you. If they see you to be a very perfect match, they will work with you. So Roko is the Japanese dwarf that I had worked with a while in Ghana. So I think we were looking for its incantation so that I can teach you people, and then Obubuyaya reminded me that he was there. And then here you are now, that you can now connect with Obubuyaya and then be able to learn some herbal secrets from him. So, I mean, these things, sometimes when you are talking about it, it sounds crazy, as if you are a mad person, no? But until people start to have a real experience. You know, when I was talking about spirit invocation and how I used to invoke spirits when I was even small and all these things, I think initially you people were only hearing it as a story. Not until I introduced, not until I started teaching you people how it is done and what to use and how to do it, and then you started practicing, and now you can see that it is not a dream, it's not a crazy, it's not an imagination, but it's a reality.
That's very true. Yeah. I think that when we were going through your books from 1994, 1995, and you had very specific notes, I was quite surprised with the specificity of the notes, because it's one thing to say like a spirit is talking, but like the level of specific details that they bring, of like their secret names and like the days and what herbs, and almost, I mean, even Jopata revealed his whole second incantation through a complete invocation through somebody who doesn't even speak Ewe. So that should show that the information was coming through. It was a white lady, and the lady was invoking it.
She was a German.
So that's very, very crazy.
She was a German woman. Yeah.
So then the idea that only, let's say, African people are able to communicate with Vodous.
No.
If you are not having that, you cannot do that. It's a fallacy. It's not the reality.
No. That's why when Africans in the diaspora, especially in the diaspora, say, why should you be teaching Vodou to white people? They will use it against us. Who told you that white people do not have Vodou? They don't call it Vodou. They call it spirit. They call it dwarf. They call it whatever they call. They don't call it Vodou. But we, in our language, we are calling it Vodou. So when you are teaching the spiritual thing to people, it is not limited to only black people, or to Ewe people, or African people, or Africans in the diaspora. Spiritual world is a universal world, and anyone can tap into it. Well, I'm not an Arab, but I can work with Arab spirits. I am not from Japan, but before I even went to Japan, I know about Roko, which is Japanese spirit. So spirits are spirits. It is not we human beings who can tell what to teach someone or what not to teach someone. When you see the person is a good person and you give him the basic understanding of life, that spirituality is supposed to be used to protect life and defend life, if the person is ready, you teach. Don't call him white person or green person or yellow person, so I will not teach. The technical team, Mr. Martin Kobler is saying that he has been sending questions, but until now, his questions have not been read and it's not on the screen. I think we are having some problems since last week that not all the questions from Facebook that are coming to us. Because last week, Mami Sewa also sent a message, and Facebook has recorded that she sent a message there. So because she screenshot it, sent it to me, but it never appeared on our this thing here. So I think Facebook and YouTube are kind of cutting down on the messages that come to us. I don't know how and why, but then the people are sending, because right now Formatting has sent a message, and he sent me a screenshot of it, and still his message is not here, neither is it on Zoom or anywhere, but he has already done so. So it happened last week, and people sent me the messages afterwards to say that they have sent messages, but we didn't read it. But the truth is that the messages do not appear on our monitor here, so we can't see it. So maybe there is something that formatting. I don't know, is Facebook doing this to us, or who or what is happening? I cannot tell. So Lamin, come and look at this and see what this is, what she has sent. He has sent. So I don't know why this is happening. Because messages are there on their platform or in their page that they have sent message to us, but they don't. It doesn't appear to us to read. And you people have to change this Frimpoman housing address. It's not number 1 Spinters Road. It is number 1 Frimpoman housing project, because it is confusing. When you say number 1, people are looking for the number 1 and they go far away. It's number 1 Frimpoman housing project. It is not number 1 Spinters Road in our address listing. So please, Said, take note of that. No, I think for Martin Kobler's message, none of these things are here. Nothing came. It's not there. We can't see it. For Martin, if you are still there, please send the message again and let's see whether it will come. Because here nothing came. It happened last week to certain people, and it's still happening again today. Okay, we are on YouTube. Okay, let's finish with the Facebook. We have Silas Ayrakwa. I say thank you, Papa, for your explanation. Thank you very much, Silas. Thank you very much for the question. Yeah. Okay, let's go to YouTube and see. We have a Lastic. It's a father about this same topic. I saw you pouring lots of blood on some little plant. Can you tell us something small about that? Just curious. No, I don't remember pouring blood on any plant. Lastic. I don't remember pouring any blood on any plant. If I did, then I don't remember. But I know that we killed an animal, or we either pour the blood on a legba or on some Vodou. But plant, I don't remember. I don't remember. So please bring my attention to that again, so that I can really see when. Yeah, because I don't. Yes, maybe sometimes people may do that if it becomes necessary that the particular plant you want to use is the plant is. Say that's the way to. Have you found it? You didn't find it. It's not on our. But then he sent it. That's why he screenshot this and sent to us. So how come? What did we do wrong to Facebook? And this one was a live chat. He was chatting with us. Anyway, I think there's something. No, somebody is what do you call it? Is it someone have cloned our account and is yeah, and people are sending messages there thinking that they are sending messages to us. Yeah, it's very possible because somebody has been trying as much as possible to hack into my Facebook and also to hack into the YouTube. That's why I changed the password. That's why you people were not able to open it today because someone is also trying to hack into our YouTube, trying to clone our YouTube. I don't know whether it's possible, but that's what's happening. People have been trying. So if there's anything we should do, we should. If there's anything we can do, we should do that to get out of them. So maybe for Martin, try to send a message to us again, where you probably may be sending it. It's not getting to us. Yeah, and anybody who is we are not reading their message should send message to the proper African Magic Temple. We are not called Magic Temple. People should understand, we are not called Magic Temple. We are called African Magic Temple because there's a lady who has been sending me email that somebody she wants me to contact her because she is having a Magic Temple as a address, or somebody is trying to take Magic Temple, and if I want to I have to pay her, we should negotiate, and then and I told her I'm not interested. We are called African Magic Temple. We are not called Magic Temple. So people should take note of that. So someone just sending message continuously to my email that Magic Temple. I told her we are not called Magic Temple. If anybody wants that, they can give it to the person. I'm not going to negotiate to buy anything from you because you want to hack into my account and you are not getting a chance. You want to find a way to draw money out of me. So I told her it's not possible. I don't need it. So if anybody is sending messages to something called Magic Temple, no, we are called African Magic Temple. Somebody may try to create a page called Magic Temple and you may be thinking that it is us. And you are sending messages there, it won't get to us. Okay, so we have on Facebook, we have our big sister Oluchi or something. Okay. Yes, is Facebook doing it? Please, peace and love. You can't receive it. Maybe they are banned from Facebook sending message. It depends what kind of message, Papa. Okay, so maybe Facebook banned them. That's according to big sister Oluchi. And then if they send message, they send it, but it doesn't come to us because they have either been banned, restricted to. So I don't know. But we have not restricted these people. So, but anyway, Facebook knows what they are doing. We are just like tools in their hands. They can do whatever they want to do to us. Thank you very much, big sister Oluchi. So it says Facebook is doing that. So they're taking us off from the like the message of big sister Oluchi. And then, is there any question coming from Clubhouse? Okay, we have a question on YouTube. Okay, Bola, let's take. So I'm not very sure that we were killing any animal or any plant, but if you can still remember or get the video, that will be fine. We can see into it, and then probably I will be able to explain. But I don't really.
But the only video I remember is maybe the time we were doing Amapade.
Oh, but then that is, we have already harvested the plant, right?
Yes, yes.
We didn't kill any animal on any living plant.
No living plants. We haven't done that. But the only one we're doing for plants.
The herbs, yeah, that's why we call it. They are no more called plants. They are called herbs. When we kill animal
Yes.
on herbs that have been harvested already, we are just empowering them with the spirit that we are going to give that herb to, so that it can work with them. That's what it is. You find something? Now it has come. He sent a message now, and that one has come. Okay, yes. Now we can see this one, but the one you sent first, we couldn't see it, but now it came. So you can use this platform. Maybe this one we can see. Yes, we can see. We can see for Martin. Yes, we can see it. But the first one did not come at all. We look everywhere. We couldn't find it. I think it's Facebook that is now restricting some questions from coming to us. I don't know why, but they are the ones who are managing YouTube, and they are managing everything. So, okay, we have Bolaji Ali here. So, hello, Papa. Happy Sunday. Same to you, Bolaji. How are you? Thank you very much for joining. And then we have Bolaji again. Please, Papa, what are the various ways a person can be healed using Vodou? Okay, Bolaji, you see, for a person to use Vodou to heal them, the first and the foremost is to do a reading, to know the source of the sickness, to know the root cause of the problem. And when a priest does a reading or divination for you and knows what is the root cause of your problem and what to do to cure you or to heal you, the priest will now tell you what is the cause of the problem. You explain what the spirits have told him or the information he got from the spirits, and then now he is going to tell you what things he will need to use in healing or curing you. A lot of times people think that Vodou is just like a religion where you just pray and then answers come. Vodou is not a religion, it's a spirituality, it's a way of life. So to be able to access it, you must go through the proper way. And the first station is to know what is happening. And that can only be done through divination. If you don't know what is happening, you cannot heal. There is no way you can know what medicine to apply or whatever spiritual secret to apply. So to approach a problem, the first thing is to do a reading, to find out what is happening. Where is the problem coming from? Then you can now know what you are dealing with. But you can't just say, oh, this person is sick with this and I want to pray, and then you pray and then pray for me, and then it is just no. We don't use faith in our tradition. It's not based on faith. It's based on reality and practicality, science-based, that you will know what to do and when to do it. You don't just use trial and error to say, okay, let me try this, let me try that. No. You must ask the spirit words. As long as you want to deal with spirit, you must communicate with the spirits. You must ask them. And when you ask them, they will tell you what they've seen, and they will tell you what you should do to overcome whatever challenges are confronting you. So, Bolaji, that's what it is. So if you want to use Vodou to do a healing, first thing is to first do a reading. Not necessarily with us, but with anybody who you want them to heal you. The first thing is to find out what is the cause of your problem. And if if there's a healing that can come. Sometimes there are certain sicknesses, the Vodou will tell you that there is no healing. But then at the same time, it will advise you what to be doing so that that thing will reduce. So that is what Vodou is all about. It's not a faith-based thing. It's not a religion whereby you just believe that you are going to be, or they pray and your answers come. No, it doesn't work that way. So we are now on Zoom, right? Okay, so can we have someone on Zoom? I think there's nobody there.
No, please, no one has joined.
There's no one there now.
Yes.
Okay. So we have our brother Dr. Henry Hansen here. He said, "Where's Olo, Papa? Thank you. Where's Olo? I'm late. Off late. I wasn't able to catch up due to work all the time. Oh, that's good, Henry. It's fine. Whatever we do is always online. Maybe you may not be able to ask me direct question, but it's always online, and you will come to it and listen. If you have any question after listening, you can post the question, and when I see it, I'll answer you." And then you said, "Papa, I hope you and the family are doing good. It's such a very long time. Nice to see you again, Papa, the Shaolin Master." Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And how is your sister and everybody? Hope they are all fine. So we have a wise survivor flex here. Say, wow, there's so much deep knowledge. Thank you very much, Wise. I'm very happy and very thankful for that. Then we have Lauren Vlogman again here. Good afternoon, Papa. If your partner has not said to you, they don't want you, but their behavior has changed, and you know they have drifted from you by their action. However, you feel their presence very strongly when you are asleep, as if they are next to you, when they are not in your thoughts. It feels very real, as if they are next to me. What could this mean or be, Papa? Okay, Lauren, you are saying that you were with your partner, and your partner drifted away, and you are not staying in the same room, or you are not being in the same bed. But when you sleep, sometimes you can feel their presence very strongly, as if they were with you. This may happen due to two things. One, maybe unconsciously, you are still attached to that person and you wanted them to be near you. Unconsciously. So consciously, you are trying to avoid and take your mind and your thoughts off the person. But unconsciously, maybe because of the because of the connection that you had for some time, you are kind of attached to the person. So you are having that unconsciously within, that you wish that the person was still near you. So you could experience that kind of feeling that they are near you, because those are like a dream, but it's not a deep dream. It's in between dream and reality. That it could be one. Another thing could be that your partner is also seriously thinking to come back to you, but then physically she is not coming, but in her mind she is with you. And that could also be drifting into witchcraft, where they project the mind to do something physical. And maybe your partner didn't want you to forget him or forget her, or she is thinking that you are drifting away rather, and she's trying to capture you by trying to project her presence with you. And spiritually, those things can be done through binding and certain incantation, and some rituals can also connect that. Because when we deal with love portions and all this, these are the things that we do. When a person doesn't like you, but you like the person, then this is what you should do to bring the person's spirit closer to you, so that physically the person will eventually be attracted back to you. So that is what it is. It happens in this. It is not a strange thing, but it can be possible. Then we have a tantric power here saying, "Greetings, Papa. What is the connection between divinity and healing?" I am not very sure whether I know the deity, because I don't deal with the Vodou. and how it does healing. I'm not sure. But as said, the Vodou is also one of the deities in the Ewe spirituality, and that deity is connected to Togbe Zikpi, is connected to Adde, and it is also connected to Hebiaso, Agboloso. So, and then it's also connected to the spirit called Nana Bukuyeke. So, somehow the Vodou has all these things. So, definitely it can do, people do healing, but because I'm not into that Vodou and I don't belong to any shrine that has the Vodou, and I don't practice anything to do with the Vodou, so I won't be the right person to give you the answer. But I believe people who are dealing with that Vodou or who have the shrine of Vodou, you can ask them. They should be the right people or the rightful people to give you the correct answer. And then we have Wise Survivor Flex. He said, "Oh, I really appreciate you, sir. Thank you very much, Wise. Thank you for the question." And Vivian Baka again say, "Papa," I say, "Please, Papa, is it true that walking barefoot help you grow spiritually?" Walking barefoot does not only help you grow spiritually, but physically also it helps you, in the sense that all the nerves, our nervous system ends under our feet and then inside our head. They generate from the head and come all the way to under our feet. So when you are walking barefoot, you are actually massaging and activating them. So it can also help you in many things, physical health and mental health. So I believe strongly spiritually also it has something. But I don't believe in people who just walk barefoot even in daytime in hot sun. The sun is burning their leg and they are walking around. That's not what I believe in. But some people feel that that makes them more authentic without wearing shoes. It makes them more clean. I don't think so. Me, I eat meat and I wear slipper. I wear shoes, so I don't think it makes me less holy or more this is so. Me, I only, when I am going into my spiritual places or the presence of my spirits, that's when I remove my footwear just to show respect. But if I will go and walk somewhere that there are thorns and everything, I'm going to wear footwear. If the spirit is inside the thorn, then I'm going to wear footwear. I'm not going to remove it, whereby something will break my leg before I'll be thinking of how to remove it. Okay, thank you, Vivian, for that question. And then Wise Survivor Flex is saying, "Yes, Papa, I really want to get connected to my essay or get linked to my ancestors. Get linked to my ancestors. How would I do that? Or our ancestors? Okay. I think Wise, the first and foremost thing to do is to kind of first thing is to do a reading or do a consultation to ask what is happening in your life and what to do about it. And then through that, if your essay or your destiny appears, then it will tell us what to do. And if your destiny doesn't appear, we can ask direct question that, do you need destiny rituals to be done for you so that you can get in connection with your destiny? Because everybody has destiny. It is with all of us. But you can only connect with it physically, or you can only connect with it in reality, where you want to communicate and deal with it through certain kind of rituals that may be done for you, and that will now connect you to your destiny or your essay so that you can always be able to deal with it. But they are all done through rituals. You cannot just talk that, oh, my essay, do this for me, to do, until you have gone through the rituals. And then we have Oziman Dias says, "Hello, Papa. The dogs in my neighborhood barks a lot at night, especially past 12 a.m. or around 1 to 2 a.m. What does that mean? I don't know. They have seen something. When dogs are barking, that means they have seen something they don't like. or they are seeing something that they are surprised at. It could be anything. I don't want to carry your mind into say that some witches are passing by. That's why no. I don't like those kind of things, because there may be some thief that is passing by. There may be somebody who is passing by their area. One thing with dogs, that once one start barking, the other one understand why this one, the voice or the language of what this one is saying, so they continue to do it. If you say, oh, this is a strange person passing by, then they all will carry it so that everybody will know that there's a strange person. If it's a thief, they will say, oh, somebody is passing by this time and is carrying something on the head. So the dogs will, even if the first one that saw it or smells it, is going to bark, and will let the rest will be barking together, so that they expose what they are seeing. With their barking, they are just awakening human beings to tell you that something is happening. When dog is barking, it's telling human beings that something is happening that we don't know what to do with it. So you as a human being, wake up. That's the job of a dog. So I wouldn't know what is happening in your area between that time, but definitely the dogs have seen something that they don't like or they are surprised at. That's why they are barking. Okay, now for Martin Kobler's message is on YouTube. Said, it's a pleasure to see you in your brilliance. May God keep up your health. Thank you very much, my big brother. I'm very, very grateful for all the support that you have sent me in the forms of money and medicine and medications, and also medical gadgets that I can be using to support myself. I'm very grateful. May the ancestors and God continue to bless you, bless your ways. He said, I kindly tell us about Togbi Akpo Kotoku. Is it possible to make one for anyone who wants it, please? Yes, it's possible to make Akpo for anyone who wants it, but Akpo is not made and posted to people. Akpo is a very practical thing, and you must be at the time, because there are certain things to do, and you must be there physically, and you must participate in the whole ritual before the Akpo will be handed over to you. We can't make Akpo and then send to you somewhere when you are not physically present during the ritual. Unlike Tobe Jokata's bracelet that can be sent to people outside of the scene. Most of the Vodous that I have, for you to be initiated into them, you need to be physically present. And that makes sense in the sense that you can, during this time, you can physically experience your interaction with the spirit. For Jokpata, it is a protective talisman or bracelet. So we send the seeds, and when you swallow the seed, the Vodou is here to be able to connect with you, because that's what he told us, that once anybody swallows the seed and has the bracelet, he can connect with them anywhere in the world. That's why we do that. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been doing it. So the spirit itself tells us what to do, and we follow. I don't do anything without the advice of the spirit. So Akpo Kotoku, yes, can be given to anybody who wants Akpo, but the person must be physically present and go through the rituals. Thank you. I'm hungry. Okay, so we have done with the Oziman Dias, and then we are back to Wise Survival Flex. Hello, Papa. Please, I do pour libation calling the dead of my family, mother's side and father's side, to help me, to support me in all levels of my life. Please, do you think it's the right thing I do? Mostly, I use water and sometimes Sprite. Yes, it's the right thing to do. Pouring of libation is to invoke the memory of your ancestors, both paternal and maternal. You are invoking their presence and asking them to intercede on your behalf, so that negative things that may come and disturb your life should not come and disturb you. You can use water, you can use Sprite. And you can also sometimes use liquor. But the best thing is that when you really wanted the ancestors to work for you and you want to know what they will need from you to be able to intercede on your behalf, the best way is to do a reading. When you do a reading, you will now connect with your ancestors, and they will tell you that, okay, Wise or Kojo or Cobra, do this thing, do that, and we will be able to, we will be empowered. And with that empowerment, we will be able to now respond to your quest or your desire or your prayer. That's why I always say that spirituality is not religion, where you just use faith. It is a practicality. So when you find out you are trying to connect with your ancestors, you must find out from them what should you do for them, what you should do for them to awaken them to be able to support you and intercede on your behalf. So pouring libation is one, but you can also go a little bit above that by doing a reading to ask them what exactly should you do so that they can come to your aid. Papa, you spoke many times about a woman spiritualist in Thailand who is very powerful. Do you work together with her sometimes, or do you join forces? Okay, Mike Perea, Kunyuari, that's her name, Kunyuari Wintumpan. Somebody go get me. Just walking around beaches. You feel like that today? Yeah. So the lady in Thailand has been my friend since the 1980s. From the 1980s, we've been friends. And her name is Kun Yuari Wintumpan. And she is a psychic and a spiritualist, and she's been very helpful to me in my spiritual journey. We still have contact, but we don't work together as working together on spiritual things. No. She had given me certain spirits that I work with, but then like me and her working together, no, not now. But maybe when I go to Thailand again, we will have some agreement to work together. Yeah, but then we are very, very close and very good friends. She does her things with her Buddha and other nature spirits of Thailand, and I am doing with African spirits, nature spirits of Africa and the Eveland. So, but then she always admire, and she had even told me many times when we were together those days that the real spirits are in Africa. African Vodou is the most powerful of all spirituality. We had been discussing that time. I was not even deep into our traditional African spirituality. I was more into Tantra and yoga and sometimes Kabbalah than this. But then what she told me is real and it's true. So I'm not really working with her, but if you want to contact her, then you have to send me a message on WhatsApp. I'll give you her contact and you can talk with her. And she's still working. I think now she's at Songkla. She's no more in Bangkok, but she's in Songkla. So you may be able to get to her. Thank you very much, Mike Perea. And then we have a childhood here, Jackie here. Greetings and good health. Thank you. Hello, Jackie. Thank you. Thank you very much. And how are you? Seeing your photographs from Egypt. Hope you are fine. My regards to the whole family. Thank you very much. Okay, then we are on Facebook again. We see Wise Survivor Flex. He say, "Wow, Daddy, thank you so much for all your amazing answers. I really appreciate that. That may the say continue to use you for the good works. Thank you very much, Wise Survivor. We are very grateful that you asked the questions. And do we have anybody on Clubhouse that wants to ask any question? Shamba, anybody wanted any question too?
Yes, Papa, I wanted to ask a question.
Yes, Nuku Ameyibo, please come on with your question.
Okay, yes, Papa, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, good afternoon.
I wanted to ask, with Jopata, Jopata is said to be a protective spirit. Like, how does it actually do the protection in, like, maybe in a real life situation? Is it that it alerts you or gives you warnings, or it physically manifests itself to protect you? Can you explain a bit more how it works?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Jopata, once you have swallowed the seed and you have been initiated into it, the bracelet is on your hand, or even sometimes maybe it's not on your hand. The presence of the spirit is already always there because it's inside of you. You have already swallowed it. So it's like getting a microchip into a computer or into a telephone or into any device. Once that chip is in the device, it can now connect with the device and continue to work with the device with informations and everything. So it is with spirit initiation. So as long as you have been initiated with the seed and you have swallowed the seed, the energy that is a universal energy that is like a satellite somewhere will connect with you wherever you are. And when you will not see Jopata coming to fight and this, but its presence alone will kick away negative people, negative things, and you will begin to realize that sometimes people will not like you. People will not like you just because the energy around you is disturbing them. Some people, maybe even your own family or friends, your colleagues at work, your colleagues at playground, they'll begin to get away from you because the energy that this Jopata is emanating is affecting their negativity. So that is how Jopata works.
Okay, thank you, Papa.
If you have any follow-up question, you can still ask.
Okay. So, in case of maybe you are going on a journey and maybe, or you are doing something, maybe there's a knife around and it's possible that maybe a knife might hit you or something. Is it that you send you a message to tell you that be careful about knife?
Definitely.
How would it actually work?
The spirit, when the way spirit speaks to human being, it speaks to your mind. Immediately something is danger, the spirit will alert you that in your mind that, oh, this is dangerous, be careful. And sometimes with the case of Jopata, it may burn your wrist. You may feel some heat, or sometimes you will feel like it tightens your wrist. So it will start vibrating your limbs, your hand, your arms, your legs, or whatever. So once you start to feel those things, it is alerting you that be careful. Whatever it is, whether it is a knife or whatever, it is just trying to let you that take a second look around your surroundings.
Okay. Thank you, Papa.
You're welcome. You were saying that your left hand has been vibrating after the initiation. So do you really know?
Yes.
Which time does it usually vibrate?
I moved it from the left to the right. On the right side, it's been silent for a while. So I don't know whether if I take it back to the left,
I know, but I think
It will start by
that one is like it was telling you to put it on the right. That's why it is. Once it is on the right hand and it is no more vibrating, means that's where he wanted you to keep it. There could be also that there is a problem in your body. There's a disease in your body. There's something that is disturbing you. So if it is on that side of your body, it will be working to heal you and correct the problem. So the spirit felt that it should be the arm you should wear it on. So that's it. So after that, does the left hand still vibrate?
no, it's okay.
No, okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So just take a look at around yourself anytime you feel anything, just and you hear it in your mind, and be careful. Take a second look.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I think we are done with all the questions.
Yes, yes, please.
Okay. Okay. Wise survival is saying, I pray that you've been granted you long life and to always give us more knowledge. Thank you very much. I wish you and pray that you also be granted long life. And then he finally said, I love his teachings. Thank you very much, Wise. I love you all. Thank you all for joining and making it possible. Our brother Mario didn't come today, but I have chatted with him. His granny was sick the other day, last Sunday, and was rushed to the emergency ICU unit with a heart problem. But I communicated with him today, and he said she's okay and has been discharged, I think, yesterday. We thank God and we thank the spirits for hearing our prayers. Okay, the big sister Oluchi is here telling Marie Telly too. Say, Baba, can you please speak on the Vodou Amega Ahobato? Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Telly Marie Telly. Togbe Ahobato, as it is called, is a Vodou that comes from Achiavi in the Volta region of Ghana. That is how far I can trace it to. And I myself don't have Togbe Ahobato as a Vodou. Okay, I would say I have it, but I don't have it. Well, Togbe Ahobato was the Vodou of my spiritual teachers' ancestors. So from the childhood of my spiritual teacher, Togbe Tuji, Ahobato had been there as a tutor. They also call it a tutor at Abenyinasi in Agotime. A tutor means the owner of the town. Means that Vodou was brought in as early as the time that they were trying to set up that village, or has become the village deity that everybody comes around. So my teacher was dealing with he grew up with Ahobato, and when his uncles died, he became the owner or the head of the Ahobato shrine. And that shrine is still there. That shrine is over 100 or 200 years old, and it is still there. And when my teacher was about to pass away, few months or few years, 1 year or this thing before he passed on, he had been encouraging me to take the lead when they are doing the rituals for the Togbe Ahopato at Agotime Abenyinasi. Of course, the origin is from Achiavi, but the one that I deal with, or my teacher was dealing with, is at the Agotime Abenyinasi. But the history is that it came from Achiavi in the Volta region. So when he was about to pass on, before he passed on, he has been encouraging me to work, to take the lead in doing the rituals for the Togbe Ahobato. And when he passed on, he actually told me that he will never die without informing me. So we agreed on that. And then I remember they called me from the village one day that he was dying. He's almost dead. So I drove all the way. I went to the village and I asked the people what was his condition, and they told me, oh, he's in the room, I should go and look at it myself. And I'm talking about, at that time he was over 100 plus years, he was almost 120 plus years. So when I went into the room, there was some things that he taught me and some other people taught me. So I applied those things on him, and I came out, and after a few minutes he woke up. He came back to life again, and I went in, and he was asking me and my friend, hey, you people, you really tried to force me back, because we tied something onto his wrist. Then when you look at it, they say, hey, you people, you really tried to force me to come back, which we all laughed over that. And then we told him, but you taught us that this is what to do when someone is passing and away from, somebody is dying and leaving you, and you don't want the person to go, this is what you do. So that's what we did. So from the time we did that, it took about another 2 years for him to finally pass on. But he told me he would never die without informing me. So one night, the people, no, it was in the morning, and the people told me, now the old man, he is tired, I should come and remove the bracelet Jopata from his wrist. And I said, no, I cannot do that, because myself and him, we have made pledges to each other that we will always protect each other. Should he die before me, he will become my ally in the spirit world. And if I should die before him, I'll be his ally in the spirit world. We told this one to ourselves when he was alive, and we used a drink to put on top to swear it before our deities. So we will never look for evil for each other ever. So if people are asking me to come and take the bracelet off his hand, I gave him the bracelet. It's me who gave him the bracelet. Of course, he's my teacher, but I also gave him the bracelet to protect him. So people were asking me to remove the bracelet, because if he does not remove the bracelet, he won't be able to die peacefully. So I told them I cannot do that. So what happened was, the night that when they asked me about for me to come and remove, and I said no. At night, when I slept that night, he came to me and told me what things should be done for him before he can pass on. So he taught me everything in my dream, whether it's a dream or whatever. So when I woke up, I called the village and told them that they should go into the Togbe Ahongbato shrine to set up fire. He told me what to do, so I gave them all the instructions. So when they went and they did that, within the hour, he passed on peacefully. So the Tobe Ahobato is a Vodou that is very powerful, and it's been there in the village. It's been there long before the old man was born, and it's still there today. I go there once in a while these days because I try to hand over to the children, but they are not able to handle it. So they are still asking me to come back. I gave it to them for about 5 years now to handle it, but they are not able to handle it. So now they invited me to come back and take charge of it, which I went there this year already. Did we go this year? No, last year. We went last year to do the ritual, so we'll be going again this year, maybe somewhere in May, to do the ritual. So that's how much I know about it. But he set up a satellite station of Tobe Ahobato for me in my house before dying. So even though the main Vodou is not with me, there's a place I can call the Vodou and ask it to work or send it to do something for me. So Kelly, that's what has happened. Thank you for the question. And then we have a big sister Oluchi Osuokezi. Papa, today is the last day of what I told you about that I told you I'm doing. I finished it this morning, so let's see how it goes, and maybe that is why I had the dream last night. Finding myself making herbs, come to think of it, Papa. Thank you for all your attentions and teachings. Peace and love. With peace and love. Thank you very much, big sister. Yes, maybe it is a help that is needed in your this. So let's see what will happen, and inform me and let me know. So wise survivor Flex is please one more. Yes, go ahead. If you have any more questions, please come with your question, please. Anyone on the Clubhouse with any question?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please, who is speaking? Zil.
Oh, this is, yes, Theo from Los Angeles.
Yes, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Mr. Bokor?
I'm also fine. Thank you for joining.
Good. Yes, I enjoy it. I was in Brazil last weekend, so I didn't join.
Okay.
But I was really interested in the fact that while I was there, I saw some evidence of like continuities of Vodou in the area that I was in Brazil. And so it's kind of interesting. You know, also I picked up a book on the black religions of Brazil, and I only read 1 or 2 chapters, but it was interesting to how they talked about the different conflicts that were happening in the area where Vodou is, you know, most prominent, and how people came into the slave trade into Brazil during a certain time, and they were talking about the history of that and the evidence, and they referred to spirits as Vodous, and you know, which cultural practices kind of came along and still kind of continue in Brazil. So it was really, really interesting. I mean, they even referred to the spirits as Vodous. And but anyway, that was just something that I wanted to mention. But the question that I have for you is again about something I read about people who live in the Benin area, and they went to a certain place to live on the water in Gambia because apparently the water was, they couldn't, there was like a taboo against being attacked on water, like attacking people on water. So they didn't want to be caught up into the slave trade or participate, so they went to live in the middle of a big lake. And I just wondered if other ethnic groups in the area have similar beliefs about the protective power of bodies of water. And yeah, that's my question.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for the message about the Vodou practice in Brazil. That's very good because I think a lot of the Africans went with their spiritual items and ideology when they were there, but because of uh, uh, Christianity and the slave masters' religion, we kind of lost it. But it is good that people are still maintaining at least some part of it, which is a very good thing. And about people living on water and being protected because people don't fight other people living on water depends on the area and the tribe or the place. In the sense that maybe the lake on which people are on or moved to live on in Benin was a sacred river or a sacred lake, or maybe that part of the lake was a sacred lake because maybe it has been designated for some spirit or for some Vodou or whatever. That's why when people are there, people cannot go and attack them because they seek a refuge in the bosom of that lake or of that Vodou. That's why they are not protected. But in other cultures, I don't know so much that people go and live on water because other people cannot attack them. In Ghana, we also have some tribe that lives on water in a place called Nzulenzu in the western region of Ghana, where people build their houses on lake inside the river and the lake. They build their structures and they live on top of the lake. But whether it was for spiritual purpose or it is just a way of trying to make sure people do not come all the way to attack them, because when you are living on water, if anybody is coming to attack you, you will see the person, because the person either has to take a boat or take some canoe or whatever, and you will see them coming. Then you can either run away or you attack them before they get out. Because water, when somebody is in a boat and the boat capsizes, you get drunk if you don't know how to swim. Even if you know how to swim and it happens in the middle of the lake or this, it is difficult for you to swim successfully. So probably they did that, or they just went there because they know that people cannot easily come to attack them while they are there. Some parts of Ghana, people climb to the top of the mountain. They are on the very top of the mountain with the mind that when enemies or people want to attack them and they are climbing the mountain, they will roll stones on them. So that understanding that it was that if they are on top of water, they cannot be attacked. I cannot tell. I don't know much about Beni culture or that particular people. So if I'm saying anything here, it will just be a hearsay or just trying to speculate. But I cannot understand that it is because if you are on water, they cannot attack you. Yes, it is true when you are on water and the water is a big water where people have to swim or have to use a canoe to get to you. It is not very easy for them to attack you with physical weapons like spears and clubs and all this. Yeah, so that is possible. Yeah, that could be possible, but I don't see the connection of the Vodou to the river, unless, of course, the river or the lake is a sacred river and people are not supposed to go there.
Okay. I have two other questions. They're not related. One is about, one of the things that happened in Brazil is I saw how in the area again that I was in, which is just a small region, there repeatedly I was seeing sort of like figures to black ancestors, and there were two that are often in the religious shops, and they're called preto velho, which is like the black elders, and it would be like a male and female couple, and they would be always painted black, and wearing white clothes, and I just I was thinking about that in relationship to Vodou and like how do are ancestors in a completely separate realm than the Vodou, or the Vodou can be elevated from the ancestor level to becoming Vodou? So that's one question. And
Okay,
then the
okay.
second question
Hold
about-
that. Hold that one there so I can explain
Okay.
before you go on to the second question. Ancestors are not voodoo. That you must be very clear about. Ancestors are not called voodoo, and they are not voodoo. Ancestors remain ancestors, and voodoos remain voodoos. So an ancestor can never be elevated into a level of voodoo, or a voodoo elevated to the level of an ancestor. Who are our ancestors, and who are voodoos, or what are voodoos? Ancestors are people that had lived like us before, and then they had passed on, and their DNA are connected to us. Sometimes even if it is not in their DNA, but maybe the family relationship, social relationship has been connected to us somehow, and that's why we call them ancestors. On the other hand, voodoos are deities, nature spirits, and whatever you call them. They are spirits. They have nothing to do with. They have nothing to do with human being to say that we were human at one time and now we are voodoo. No, there isn't anything connection to a voodoo. So a voodoo can never be elevated to become an ancestor, and so also no ancestor can be elevated to become a voodoo. Voodoo remains a voodoo, and an ancestor remains an ancestor. What is happening in the diaspora is that a lot of people, not only in the diaspora, even in Africa, people used to think that the voodoos are called our ancestors. The voodoos are not our ancestors. How close they can be to our ancestors is only that they could be called the voodoos of our ancestors or our ancestral voodoos. But the voodoos by themselves can never be an ancestor, and our ancestors can never be voodoo. So the ancestors are totally different and separated from voodoo, and voodoo is also separated from them. But why is it that when we are doing our African traditional voodoo, we combine the ancestors and the voodoos? Because some of these voodoos were left down, or the knowledge of them was left down by our ancestors who had passed on. And then we are now inheriting these physical voodoos or names of voodoos, and inheriting the rituals, how to make these voodoos to work for us. And there we invoke our ancestors because they were the people who left these voodoos, and we are now asking them, since they are no more on the physical plane, it makes them more closer to the voodoos than we who are physically here. So when we invoke them, we are expecting them to intercede and then connect with the voodoo so that the voodoos will hear that we are calling them. This is the only reason where the ancestors and the voodoos are linked together.
Okay, that leads me to another question, which is, and that's, I'm going to ask it in the most simple, dumb way, and it's not meant to be offensive or anything in any way.
Just
ask. Coming
it's
from
okay.
my
It's
own
okay.
ignorance.
It's okay.
How many voodoos are there?
Millions.
So, like, I have friends from Haiti, and they say that they think the voodoos exist in certain places. But, like, how do you explain that the voodoos have different names and are different in different places to different groups?
Okay, I said something, I was teaching something earlier. I don't know whether you were here, but you see, voodoos are universal energies. They are
I'm sorry, they're what energy?
universal.
Oh, universal, okay.
They are universal energies and entities. They can be anywhere at any time. They are not bounded by place, person, or time. I was teaching something earlier that every blade of grass has a spirit entity behind it. So when you are asking how many Vodous are there are billions of Vodous, as more than as there are human beings, and more. And each Vodou may be called Anne in some place, but then it will be called in another place Ajua. It's the same Vodou, but the Vodou will express itself to you in the culture where you are, and also gives you the name that relates to it in your culture. So Vodou's names are not like a name that is the same everywhere. As I had taught this today, that the one Vodou in another place may be called something different and may be called another name in another place. It cannot be just only that Vodou that exists everywhere. So when you go to India, there is something called Naga. I don't know whether you have heard about it before. Naga, N-A-G-A. I think Naga or something.
Oh, no.
It's a deity also, but it represents the snake deity.
Okay.
It's a snake deity, and then it's also a place like that. But then, so that Naga name, which is a snake deity, and then many other snake deities in Hinduism, may not be. We also here in our Africa, we have snake deities. But we are not calling Indian names for our African names. We give our own African name to Vodou. We call it Vodou Da. A Da means snake.
Mm-hmm.
And then in another language somewhere, if they have a deity that is a snake, they will use their own local language to call it in that name.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot say that there are only certain Vodous in the world and it is only their names are like this. No. Every Vodou expresses itself to people that it wants to work with and give them their name that it wants to work with. There are certain Vodous that nobody has, maybe only one single human being who has that in the world and is working with it. Earlier we were talking about some dwarf spirits that I have introduced to my children, and my son Senna has started working with it seriously in Japan, and he wanted to give us account of what was happening. But that name we are calling it in our language may not be the same name somebody will call it in their language. The word Vodou means spirit. The word Vodou means spirit. The white man calls it spirit. The Arabic man is called it genie. We, in every culture, we are calling Vodou. The Japanese are calling it kami. So you can't say that if it's called Vodou, so it's something different from another place. Vodou simply just means spirit. So people have spirits, and millions of billions of spirits are in the world. And Vodou is not only limited to African or black Africans or to Ewe people. In our language, the word spirit is Vodou. And so if in Europe somebody is dealing with spirit, if I want to call it, I'll just call it that is a European Vodou. So the people should stop this the notion that it is only black people who have Vodou. It is not true. It is never true. Other people may not call it Vodou, but it's a spirit. And spirit means Vodou, and Vodou means spirit. Finish.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now you said Vodou Da. Can you say that part just one more time?
Vodou Da. Vodou Da or Da. Vodou Da means in foreign language it's called dan, but in my in for dialect it's called dan, but in my dialect it's called da. There's no at the end. It's only da. Vodou da. But then when
and what does it mean exactly again?
It's snake.
Okay.
Eda means snake.
What I mean is, I remember that part, but you give that, there's different types of Vodou, and you said that Vodou da is
it's the same.
That's for your area.
The word da, eda means snake. So da is the word. Da. But in some Ewe accent and dialect, they speak through the nose. They use nasal tonations to pronounce words. Like people are calling Vodou. The word is Vodou. But when you move from the Ewe dialects, moving to Togo and moving towards Benin, people speak in they use nasal sound to pronounce things. So instead of saying Vodou, they say Vodou. And a lot of people in the diaspora thought that Vodou is different from Vodou. You don't speak our language, so you cannot know. Then people start to say, speak our dialect. It's not, I'm not saying that they are different types. It's the same, but the pronunciations are different. According to the dialect.
Okay. You brought that up as an example just to tell me that that people in your region do have different types and they have different names, and so to distinguish them from each other or what culture or region it's coming from, you have more words that you add to Vodou.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I wasn't saying so. Okay. I am saying that the word da means snake. Some people call it dan. It's the same snake. Some people even will say eda. It's the same meaning snake. It is the Ewe is a language that has so many dialects in it. Yeah. So it depends on the area where they are pronouncing the word. Either they are using nasal tonation or they are just using a tonal tonation from the tongue. That is what makes the difference. That doesn't mean the Vodous are different. That doesn't mean that the Vodous are different. It's the same thing they are calling, but the people are calling it according to their dialectical language or voice or speech or word. So it is not, it is different. No, that's not what I'm saying. I said Vodou da. That is how snake is called. Some people call it da. Some people will say eda. But the word Vodou or Vodou simple means spirit. So if somebody say Vodou, because then I would know immediately that you learn from Beninois or you are learning from Togolese who are closer to Benin. Once you say Vodou, I know where you are learning the word from. But if somebody say Vodou or somebody even say Vedou, even not there's no vo. Some will say Vedou. And when they say Vedou, I also know which every dialect is the person is talking from or learning from. People shouldn't be confused because people do not speak our language, so you will not know. It is the things are not different; they are the same. Only people who are having different dialects that are speaking it, the same language but different dialects, and they are speaking it. And if you are not part of our language, you assume that it is a different thing. It is not.
Okay. Now, my last question was about Mami Wata and how Mami Wata fits into Vodou.
Okay, earlier I was teaching about gnomes, undines, salamanders, and sylphs. Have you heard about these things before?
I didn't understand the last thing you said, but a gnome I have heard of, yeah, because it's kind I assume it's like a little European miniature figure that is like a playful fairy type.
Okay.
With a working class European Middle Ages look. I don't know.
They are not European. The Europeans call it
Okay.
the Europeans call it in their language. Gnomes, fairies, whatever. We, on the other hand, here in our African language, another name for these fairies and gnomes that fall in the fairy language, we call dwarfs. So, Mami Waters, some are water dwarfs, and other spirits, the undines, which is water spirits in general, is what people call Mami Wata. Because the word is Mami. Mami is a woman in our language. And water, they are just trying to use a European word water. So that's how the word Mami Water comes about. The Mami that lives inside water. It is not anything more than that. But you know, people make so much fuss about this thing and make all this thing as if the word is something. Mami and water, finish. That's called Mami Water because they don't call anyone Papa Water. That's why you are not hearing Papa Water. But they are male. There are also male Mami Waters, but they are men. They are called Mami Water. But are they supposed to be called Mami Water? They are supposed to be called Papa Water. But because the word Mami Water sounds better for everybody, that's why everybody call even the men Mami Water. How can a man become Mami? So Mami Water is just water spirits, or spirits that embodies water, or they live in water, or their embodiment is undines. That's why I was saying liquid. They live inside liquid, or they live inside fluid. They live inside water. So these spirits that uses water, or to live inside water, or live inside fluid, are called Mami Waters. It's not anything more. And it is not only limited to Vodou. Other people also have Mami Water. Indians have Mami Waters. The Europeans have Mami Water. They have mermaid, don't they? But they don't call their mermaid, they are not calling it because their language is not Mami Water, so they will say mermaid. Is it not the same thing? It's a woman who lives inside water. It's a mermaid in English, right? Our people call it Mami Water because Mami is a woman living inside water. Finish. So it's not anything strange or whatever. It's its own language. So Mami Waters are not limited to Vodou only. They are limited to every culture that has spirits that live inside water, or some people are beginning to call it marine spirits. I mean, the clever charlatans in the church, when they want to fool people and collect money from them, then they say marine spirit is following you. It's all stupid. So Mami Water, Papa Water, dwarf, gnomes, salamanders, undines, and sylphs are all spirits that are existing in this world, and they are not limited to any particular race or people or culture or anybody. They live their universal spirits. If you are able to tap into them, you can work with them. You can give them your name, or they will give you the name that they want you to call them in their culture.
Okay, and are they common in Ghana and where you are? I mean, do people commonly practice? I don't know if worship is the right word, but kind of like worship or acknowledge Mamiwata.
It's not a very common thing. Some people choose to, they do. Not everybody. It's not a very common Mamiwata practice. It's not very, very common. You can only find it in certain parts of the world in Ghana, but it's not that very much common. Where I come from, in the Ewe land, Mamiwata worship is not a very common thing. We worship our stools, we worship rivers, but we don't call them Mamiwata.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Okay. I have one last question. I know I asked a whole lot.
No, it's
But I
okay.
saw on Clubhouse that we're in a whole lot of people, so I was like, oh, maybe I can ask more questions today.
That's fine.
In the book that I just said I bought on Religions of Brazil, one of the statements that one of the authors makes is that that someone was recorded as having said, if you know the forest, you know all there is to know about Vodou. And I just wonder if you could respond to that statement.
I didn't get you well. Somebody recorded what?
Okay, so this is the statement. If you know the forest, you know all there is to know about Vodou.
I don't know. I cannot understand that. I understood what you are saying, but that is that person's statement. How can you know? Vodou is not a religion in the first place. So if somebody put Vodou together and call it that it's a religion, the person is wrong in the first place, because Vodou is not a religion. The hierarchy in a religion whereby there is a certain God and that God is this and that one is that, it's not in Vodou. Spirits exist independently on their own, and people have had some Vodous that other people do not even know about. So Vodou is not.
I think that
Vodou is not a religion.
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting.
Vodou is not a religion in the first place. So if someone is saying that if you know this thing, then you know all about Vodou, the person is also talking from his own point of experience. I cannot talk for them. Yeah.
Yes, and I can't translate it any better for you right now because the book is in Portuguese and I don't speak Portuguese or read it, but I use the Google Translate app to read the page, and so that was the translation that Google Translate came up with it. But I thought it was just interesting because whoever was being asked about it or describing Vodou at that moment, or whatever they knew in Brazil, they talked. Basically, they're talking about the significance of the forest and like nature, and I imagine like herbs, using plants to heal. I don't know. That's why I just said
when we talk about the four cardinal points, which is east, west, north, and south, and then we talk about the five fundamental factors of life: water, earth, air, and all these things. These are basic knowledge of nature, which is part of Vodou. That's what Vodou base is everything. I mean, African Vodou or West African Vodou, which is West African traditional spirituality, talks about nature. And it is nature that to be able to live in harmony with nature is what is the practice of Vodou. That's why it's not a religion. It's a way of life of the Ewe and the four people. How they can live in harmony with nature when somebody is sick, which herb to pluck, or sometimes if they have to fetch some sand and then do something with it, or cut a tree, or maybe wait for some wind to blow, like a while wind is blowing, you catch the grass or the dirt that is turning around, you pick it from it and do things. So our people learn how to live with nature, and that's all that Vodou practice is about. Because we believe that everything is spirit. Because spirits are not physical things, they are unseen. But we try to live with them to be able to use the knowledge and the signs that they show us so that we can live in peace. So if the person is saying, if you know all the 4 fundamental factors of life, which actually is 5 fundamental factors of life, if you know that, then you know Vodou. Yes, he may or she may be saying the truth, because Vodou is the nature, be living in harmony with nature. That's what that it is. It is a nature. It's a practice of nature. It is not based on belief, and it is not based on faith and hope. It's based on practicality and on reality. That's what Vodou is. That's why it has been termed evil, because a wind can be blowing. A Vodou priest, a very strong wind can be blowing, and a Vodou priest knows what to say and what to do, and that wind will just subside and it will not blow again. A rain can be falling. Seriously, a Vodou priest will just take some herbs and leaves and put down and tell the rain to stop, and the rain will stop. How many religions can do that?
So then, I guess now my question is like, well, what is harmony? How do you define harmony, since there's so many aspects? Maybe I'm wrong in the way I see it, and I'm just Western, but there are natural aspects of nature that are quite destructive. And we talked about like how bad and like good and bad are just natural forces of the universe. And so when we talk about harmony, you know, what does that mean when we seek to be in harmony?
Harmony simply
with the
means
destructive part of nature.
Yeah, it's not like you are satisfying nature. You are just trying to live in harmony with it. If you know that fire burns, okay? If you know that fire is burning, and you stupidly, knowing that it burns, and you put your hand inside fire, what will it do to you? It will burn you. Because the nature of fire is to burn. Right?
Right.
But if you know something that you can do, and you put your hand inside fire and it doesn't burn you, that means you know how to work with fire. That's what Vodou is about. That's the harmony we are talking about. How to work with nature and live in peace.
Like living with snakes in peace.
Yeah, some people live with snakes, and people live with snakes in Africa. People live with snakes. Those people who are worshiping Vodou, they don't kill snakes. When the snake come, they feed them and they put things. Then the snakes stay and go back. They don't kill snakes. But me, I don't worship a snake. I'm not into that cult. So when I see snake, I either run away or I kill it.
I think I'm with you. I'm following.
Yeah, so if you have to know how to do what you cannot adjust yourself with, you better leave and go.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you too for the questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you for making time to be here on Sundays. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for also making time to be here. And we have Telly Marie. Telly here. Her message has been here for 36 minutes now. I say thanks, Baba. Thank you very much, Telly Marie. Telly. And then we have our big sister Oluchi also. Okay, say yes, I will, Papa. Thank you and much love, peace. Thank you, Papa. We have over 2,500 deities of the world. Not even only in the world, in Africa, in my village, I don't know how many deities there have. In every land, deities are more than a million. So, because some of them you will not even know their name because you have not been exposed to them. That doesn't mean they do not exist. They do exist. And so I know we have many. In 2,500 is too little. India alone, how many deities do you have? Go to Japan, go to China, and go to Afghanistan, go to all this. Forget about Islam and Christianity. People have deities long before these religions are coming to just to kind of cover them and say they should not exist. But the deities don't care whether you come and cover them or not, they exist. Whether you call them or you don't call them, they exist. So Papa said they should be also called Papa Wata. That is true, Papa. Yes, of course. There are some marine spirits, let's call them so, or water spirits or undines, which are water embodied spirits. And if they are calling all of them Mami, is a man also called Mami? So they should be calling them Papa Wata, so that we all understand that they are Papa also inside the water. It's not only Mami inside the water. But because it is more easy to call them Mami Wata, and it is easy for people to use that term and feel more comfortable with it, maybe that's why even the men are called Mami Wata. That's why in Ewe they will tell you the Mami Wata, the male one. So the Mami Wata becomes the name of every spirit that lives in water. But they forgot that male spirits also live in the water. Okay, no, we are at Ya Oforiwa's place. We say greetings. Hello, Ya Oforiwa on YouTube, saying greetings. Thank you very much, Ya. How are you? Thank you very much. And then we have Jalchud here, Jalkud. Jackie, he has tried this. It's very informative. Okay. Okay. I'll wait for this. Can send it to me, and then we have Lustig. He said, Papa, please, can you tell us something about dreams? Should we take them serious? Should we be scared of dreams? Okay, Lustig, I would say that dreams are dreams. Everybody has different dreams. Some people's dreams are very, very, very real, and some people's dreams are just dreams because they ate too much food before going to bed, and they have certain kind of dreams. But all is called dreams. So it is you who have to watch your dreams and see whether your dreams come into reality. So we all have dreams. Everybody has. Some people don't even dream at all, but they dream, but because they don't remember their dreams, that's why they say that we don't dream. Everybody dreams, but most people, before they wake up, their conscious mind is not able to capture what the subconscious mind was showing them, so they cannot remember. So dreams are revelations and things that come from the unconscious to the subconscious and finally to the conscious mind if you are able to remember. So you have to watch your dreams to see whether when you dream, did they materialize on the physical plane? If they do, then you take your dreams serious. But if your dreams are just dreams that, as I said, people overeat, gluten, eat too much, you go to bed, you have nightmares. If your stomach is too full before you sleep, because your body is trying to digest the food and your mind cannot rest, body cannot rest, then you will be having all kind of scary dreams. But if you eat properly and you don't overeat during the night time and you go to bed and you have proper dreams and you are able to remember them, and then you see whether this dream manifests on the physical plane, then you know your dreams are real, then you take them serious. But if your dreams, when you dream and you don't see anything on the physical plane, then of course your dreams are just dreams. You don't need to take them serious. But each and everybody is different. We are all different. So you can't use one tape measure to measure everybody's dream and say it is like this. So you have to watch yours, and then you can know whether it is a serious thing to take serious or just to forget it. Okay, I think we are done for today. If we don't have any more questions anywhere, I think people join us on Zoom, but nobody asked any question today on Zoom. So we will continue trying the Zoom and then see if one day people will start to use the. You see, we were trying to use the event network, but it didn't work well with us, so we stopped it and we will be using Zoom. So people who would want to speak with me one-on-one on Zoom or during one of our listings, we can put it and the screen can be there and we all can talk. Thank you very much. And then we have a last person here, Joyce Gia, saying good evening. Hello, Joyce. How are you? It's been a while. Thank you very much for joining the section. Great. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to thank you all, and anybody on Clubhouse that wanted to say anything? Okay, so I think we don't have anybody anywhere to say anything, so I can just go on and then close the section with a libation pouring. Oh, Minama Lilende Darama. Oh, ago, Mauga Sobonisa, Mauga Kitikata, Mauga Se, Doago. Oh, Bugake, Equeva do Fime, your Tommy Jopata, your Tommy Akan, Doago. Your Tommy Gajet, Maduago. The Mayor would not tuji, Bokor, Mayora to come Maduago. Mayor, a Suguma Subajovi Aniha, Mayor Maduago. A Mayor of Bubuyaria. Agaya botireke, agaya tatireke, obubu yaya. Agaya kitibosu, me yora keke obon koba dobi. Mi awele doji, dagbe. Milende da, egbe mi awe wodo. Me yo sugu musuboju be anyi, me yo abochi sakaka mutu apa obi adogo kotokori don ko okunu maku. Ewa gbere no gbere to no le chu franta mani fifi nko bi sinkra o kofi to jamba. O cho wa kofi, o cho he kofi atra me yo mi kabla me yo mi dagbe. I'm wishing all of you a very successful week, full of health and good luck. May your dreams come true. May opportunities open doors for you. Thank you all very much, and I hope that I will see you people again with these beautiful questions on next Sunday, because it is your questions that can probe into my memory, into my head. There's everything here. I've got so much experience with these spiritual laws and spiritual life that if you don't probe me, I won't be able to bring them out. But if you do probe me with your questions, then I can go into my archive, the computer archives inside my head, and I will be able to bring them out and explain to you and teach you about it. Thank you very much, everybody. And we have Oziman Daya saying, please, Papa, what are some of the signs one can tell he or she is in spiritual marriage or relationship? Oziman, that term, spiritual marriage, me, I don't believe it. I think it's a scam. I kept saying that people don't want to agree, but it's a scam. There's nothing called spiritual marriage. There's nothing called spiritual marriage. I was teaching the other day, I was explaining something. Yes, spirits come to people. People associate themselves with spirit physically and sometimes in dreams. There's a lot of people who have these wet dreams or having sex in their dreams. And then your pastor will tell you it's a spiritual marriage. But what I know, I had been a monk before. I had been a monk in an abbot. I had been a monk or abbot in a shrine or in a monastery. So I know what these wet dreams are. The thing is that the semen of men, most often, and then also maybe the ova of a woman, what happens is that when the semen, all the food that we are eating, and the drinks that we are drinking, they tend to generate semen for us, men. and the ova in women. It is natural fluid in the body that has its purpose to create or procreate. So when the semen pot is full and you have no other way to discharge it, it comes in naturally in a dream, in a wet dream. And then you wake up, you see your panties are wet because you feel like you had a dream and you had a sex and truly you have ejaculated and semen will spoil your clothes or will be in your clothes. So it's called wet dream. The church will tell you that it is called spiritual marriage. It means you are spiritually married to a spirit. That's why you are married to a spirit spiritually. That's why. That may not be the case. In the monastery, when we were taking training to become monks, there are ways that we were told to control that overflow of semen. And what we do is that, you see, the semen is the same food for the brain. I don't know, I'm going into science for you. The semen is the food for the brain. So when you channel it to the brain, your mind becomes strong. Don't forget that the mind dwells in the brain. So when the brain is well strong, your mind becomes strong too. So how do you channel this semen into give it as a food to the brain, thereby strengthening your brain and your mind? Through fasting. That's the reason why we do fasting in Tantra. And we do fasting on certain days only, not every day. Just take it as I want to do fasting. No. We have Amavasya, which is the new moon. These days, you will see that the ocean itself becomes rough, which is Amavasya, new moon. Then we have the Purnima, which is the full moon. These days too, the fluid in the universe, there's a draw, the moon or this thing draws the energy. So these days, these are 2 days. And then we have the Ekadashi. I'm talking, all these things are in Sanskrit. Ekadashi is the 11th day after the new moon or 11th day after the full moon. So these 4 days in a month, we fast so that we can control those fluid in our body from overflowing, and then you have a wet dream. So when people say spiritual marriage, sometimes I look at it as a scam. People just try to take advantage of you. I'm not saying spirits don't try to have sex with human beings, but I don't call it spiritual marriage. Thank you very much, Mr. Ozimandaya. So I don't know about spiritual marriage. Then we have big sister Oluchi Osuoke. Ise. Thank you very much, big sister. We'll be in touch. Thank you very much. I think today's section is closed. Senna, are you still there? He's gone. And by here, I think people are still here. So I am going to leave now. So thank you all, everybody on Clubhouse, Facebook, YouTube. Okay, thank you, Shamba. YouTube and Zoom. Thank you very much for that.